still came up a loser last week. We'll try to correct that here this afternoon. But it won't be easy. George Perles will be ready. The Spartans have not beaten Notre Dame here in East Lansing since 1968. And George Perles, their outstanding coach, is determined to change that here this afternoon. Well, last week was the debut of Lou Holtz back in South Bend against Michigan. He agreed to wear a wireless microphone for us. They fell down by 2 touchdowns. It was then that Holtz approached the Fighting Irish and picked that team up by its bootstraps.
Listen up here. This is what I wanted. I wanted our behind the second half. I wanted to put an end to this once and for all where Notre Dame can't come back. All right, all right, all right. Give me a right return. Middle return. Make sure you get
them. The flashing eyes of the Fighting Armenian have the Irish so responded. Eric Marsegan, there is indeed new enthusiasm in South Bend.
No question about it. They had a positive attitude, a renewed confidence, and they had every right to do so. 455 yards against highly ranked Michigan, coming from behind and almost pulling it out, encouraging signs.
I bring pause to Irish fans everywhere because I stand second to no one in my respect for what George Perles can do defensively. He will be ready for Lou Holtz today.
No question about it. Michigan State's going to give the Irish all they want. Few unanswered questions for the Irish, as you well know. This is their first road game. This is Michigan State's home opener. They're going to be up. There'll be no surprises, believe me, for George Perles because he scouted this Irish team last week. And the other question is, can Lou Holtz motivate this football team as they did for their home opener?
You stay neutral with me, all right?
I will, I promise.
So it should be a dandy. Notre Dame against Michigan State. The captains are at midfield. They'll flip the coin, and we'll be back with a kickoff in a moment. It's fitting that Pat O'Brien is here today. Not the one who played Knute Rockne, but our own Pat O'Brien. Let's find him in the stands, Pat.
I never knew if it was Canute or Knute, but we'll go with Knute. You know, Brent, you have to go into the history books to see how closely tied these two great universities really are. You mentioned the Rock. Back in 1921, Michigan State University had Knute Rockne's name on a dotted line to be head coach at Michigan State. He changed his mind at the last minute, stayed at Notre Dame. The next year the Horsemen came, and the rest is history. Jim Crowley, one of the Horsemen, was head coach here at Michigan State University. That historical relationship will continue today. As you can see, they're going to have a record crowd, more than 80,000 fans in Spartan Stadium, making East Lansing the third largest city in Michigan. It's time for college football. Let's go back to Brent.
All right, Pat. Well, let's see. The first largest is Detroit, and their weather is probably similar to what we have here this afternoon. A chance of rain, overcast skies, so our picture should be beautiful coming out of here if the rain holds off. The second largest city would have to be Ann Arbor, and here it will be Montgomery, kicking off for the Spartans. Miller back deep for the Irish, lets it go out of the end zone. And on the touchback, it'll come out at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10. And the Irish being led by Steve Berline with Lou Holtz calling those plays from the sideline. Now behind Berline is fullback Pernell Taylor. He missed 2 years because of a leg injury. Mark Green is the tailback. He has replaced Alan Pinkett. Joe Williams is the big tight end. Alvin Miller, number 17, is there. And look at this change. Number 83, Reggie Ward. Era, where is Timmy Brown?
Timmy Brown had a bruised leg, and the policy of Lou Holtz is not to start a player if he has not practiced during the week. But we'll see him in this ball game.
The tailback, and there's a penalty flag down as Green came out near the 28-yard line. Todd Krumm making the stop, but there was a flag immediately on this play, so we've got a penalty.
Looks like the tight end in the near part of your screen right here. See if he breaks it. There he is, right there. Moves before the ball is snapped, and it's motion. Good blocking here, though. The cutback by Mark Green. He found the seam, but it's not going to count. It's going all the way back, -5.
So it'll be a 1st and 15, and let's meet the members of this offensive line. John Askins steps into that starting lineup. He will start at tackle, and next to him, Era.
First time he started, Freeman. 265.
The man in the center is Chuck Lanza at 255. Sean Heffern is next to him. And then the other tackle on the right side is a good one there.
Brian Spruill starting again for the first time this year. 264, as you see, 6'5". They're big fellas.
Era, how did this line perform against Michigan?
Exceptionally well. They were really concerned about it. The only returnee was Sean Heffern, as you know. And the rest of the youngsters played very well. You run up 455 yards against a team like Michigan. And you see Lou Holtz there having the explanation of the motion, apparently.
1st and 15 from the I formation. Milt Jackson is flanked out wide to the right. They have 2 wide receivers on the right of Berline and the tight end to his left. And they bring Green back to the strong side. Are the Irish setting up something off that formation? Are they going to be throwing deep to one of the wide men out there?
They have some plans against that double coverage. We'll see what develops here. They're putting the double flanker to one side. That time, Shane Bulla came over, their leading tackler, and did an outstanding job of getting over and tripping up Mark Green.
Harry, it's important that the messenger from the sideline is Tim Brown. 81 has checked in, and now we will see that wishbone backfield that they used against the Wolverines with Brown. He is at the right half off a play fake. Berline to put it up. It's complete. And he hits Brown. So it did not take Brown long to come off the bench and contribute a 15-yard gain.
Right out of the wishbone, you'll see Timmy Brown lined up at right halfback. Watch him circle. It looks like a sweep to the right. They put this play in this week. Turn up the field, turn inside of the defenders. You see the linebacker dropping off, hits him right between the seam there. Number 3, Altobelli, the outside linebacker Larson dropped off but couldn't get to him before he caught it.
An error that gives the Irish a 1st down at their own 31-yard line. The wishbone is the look again. And they will run Brown. Tries to get the corner turned, and he does. Run out of bounds by Paul Bobbitt, the free safety on that far side. Let's take a look at this defensive unit taking on Notre Dame here this afternoon. James Seismansky is on the outside. How about their 2 tackles, Era?
Really strong in there. Mark Nichols along with David Wolf. Watch them stunt in the inside. They tilt and use the Pittsburgh defense in there.
Great football name there. John Buddy, his daddy was an All-American, went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Tim Moore on the outside, very aggressive.
Shane Bulla, the great linebacker.
And Kurt Larson, the other outside man, with a 2nd and 2 for Notre Dame. First possession of the game, and they run the fullback Taylor straight ahead with Dave Wolf meeting him. Let's take a look at the members of the secondary. Sean Miller at the left corner, and how about the rest of this quartet?
Dean Altobelli, about a 3.9 student in engineering, and also calls all the defensive signals. Paul Bobbitt, 6'3". This guy can really hit. And also Todd Krumm, a very steady player at the right cornerback.
So that's the defense. Steve Berline and the Irish going against here this afternoon. Just underway in East Lansing. 13:20 left in the first period. Berline straight back over the middle, and open is Heck, the tight end. And he pulls his way out near midfield. There's a penalty flag. A penalty flag is thrown near the spot of the reception.
It's a play that many teams are using in college football this year. We'll get the signal here. Let's see if it's at Burton. Burton. Makes a difference in the yardage. 5 or 15. That's the 5-yarder.
What were you saying about this play that's being used, Aaron?
You'll see, watch a tight end will slow block on the right corner of your screen over number 42 Moore. That's Heck. Look at him right there. Now, when they defend and drop into coverage, then he'll release to the open seam. Many of the college teams are doing that.
Berline brings the Irish to the line of scrimmage. For the first time, they are into Michigan State territory at the Spartan 45-yard line for 1st and 10. The wishbone is the look. Dumas coming to the outside. He checked in with the play, and he gets to the 40. Seismansky. So there's still another contributor to this offense. What about Dumas, Sarah?
Well, this is one of the things that Lou Holtz has been able to do since he came in last spring. He's juggled the personnel around, put people in the right places. He's giving them an opportunity to express what they do best, featuring their strong suits.
Some big games unfolding this afternoon. We'll continue to update the scores as Michigan State Notre Dame unfolds here. Then at halftime, of course, Jim Nantz. Don't forget next Saturday, Oklahoma against Miami. Perles on the roll to the left. He will keep it, and he will step out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
This is one of Holtz's favorite plays. What it is it's a drop and roll. That's a pre-designed play. Drops into the pocket, encouraging the defenders to come. Then they'll wall off and seal. Watch here. This is pre-designed. He comes back, draws the defenders. Now he rolls. They get their angles. You see Purnell, number 46, picking off the outside backer. And you see how clean he is here. But the defenders did an excellent job of coverage. And Perles did make positive yardage.
On this first drive, the Spartan defenders are back on their heels just a bit. Lou has him off balance right now.
Really does. They've done some different things from the bone. Now they're coming back out in the eye.
And they will run green. They slam him off that right tackle. Kurt Larson, the linebacker, brings him down right there.
Right on this drive, Brent, I would say that the Irish are commanding the line of scrimmage. They do have Michigan off balance, but as George Perles said yesterday, they may move the ball down to the 20, but look out. When they get down around the 20, they really get tough defensively.
Shades of the steel curtain.
Yeah.
When Perles was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he helped Chuck Noll put together the defenses that authored 4 Super Bowl championships. Tom Monahan, 26, checks in at fullback for the Irish. He is the lead blocker for Green. And Green battles his way to the 25. And again, it is Larson, very active, who brings him down. And I believe he is just short of a first down.
Michigan State 25. Tackled by 87, John Buddy.
Mark Green, I think, is a sleeper in this Irish offense. He's an outstanding player. You can see 6 foot 183. Great pass receiver, can do all the open field stuff, and he played more minutes than any other freshman.
Here's the 3rd and 1. Tim Brown, the left halfback. The fullback right straight ahead, Monahan. And Shane Bulla met him head on at the point of attack.
The Michigan State Spartans are making them go the hard way. That was the 10th play in this drive, and they're only at the 24-yard line. It's going to be close, Brent. Very close.
Bulla is one of those football players who comes from a football family. His father, Hank Bulla, the coach of the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. One-time great player here. 4th and that's short. And Lou sends the play in quickly from the sideline with a second tight end. And that is Heck, who has replaced Williams. Now Lou tells Williams, stay in there. We want both tight ends, and we want Jackson out. So quickly, Jackson rushes to the sideline, and they'll go double tight, wishbone formation.
Goal line defense by the Spartans.
It is Tim Brown trying to get outside. He's got the first down. Out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Off the building, giving chase. Tim Brown is one of the more dangerous running backs that I've seen. Last year, he was used just as a wide receiver.
Oh, that was a great play by Brown. No question. Watch number 44, John Miller, the left corner, come up. Actually, he was going to stop this play short. Number 44 comes to the outside. He's blocked by the right halfback and cannot quite get him. He forces him deep. That would have been the ball to the Spartans, but great running here by Timmy Brown.
So with Purnell Taylor checking in at fullback, I said 17. It is more like the 18 for the spot here in the first down. Taylor is hit right now by John Buddy.
Number 5 tackler in the Arizona State game had 7 involvements, but he really did a great job. I thought of the defensive lineman, I think John Buddy was the outstanding one last week against Arizona State.
Making that play on first down for George Perles' defense. And maybe the Irish will have to put it up early on this drive.
Well, there comes the double flanker. They've got a couple of design things off of this.
Brown back to the 25. John Miller pouring in on Green.
Got a weak side corner blitz on the play. The timing was perfect. The Irish were trying to run an option play to the short side of the field. Watch number 44, Miller blitz. Comes up and destroys it all. It pitches fist. The pitch is forced by number 91, Szymanski, and Miller does a sensational job. Great defensive call.
Boy, did he break that play up. Anthony Johnson, number 22, checks in at tailback and is used immediately as a flanker. Single set, under pressure, Berline steps up and hits Jackson. Jackson is short of the first down, run out of bounds by Krumm.
Great job by Steve Berline. He was going to get negative yardage. He stepped inside the pocket, avoided the rush, looked like he was going to run the ball, then saw the receiver wide open, Jackson, and he delivered the ball right on the mark. Great play by Berline.
Here comes John Carney, number 18 on this 4th and 3. He will attempt the field goal of 27 yards here in the first quarter for the Irish. It's 3-0 Notre Dame.
Wouldn't he have dearly loved to have that last week? The last play of the game.
He must have been thinking about that all week long. But now it's a different week, and the Irish are ahead. He'll be right back.
51.
We're back at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. Notre Dame strikes first on the right foot of John Carney, who gets off on the right foot here this afternoon against Michigan State. With 8:46 to go in the opening quarter, Notre Dame strikes first on its first possession.
Carney has only had 16 out of 51 a year ago. Kickoff return. Let's see if he puts this one in the end zone. It's a great offensive weapon. No, they're going to return this one.
Ingram at the 5. Breaks a tackle at the 19. Brought down at the 33 by Marv Spence, a cornerback. Let's take a look at this offense. One of the most unheralded quarterbacks in the Big Ten is Dave Urema, and all he does is win. Andre Rison, and they're going to go without a huddle. They're going to come out right away. So Rison and Mark Ingram are the wide receivers, and they're at the line of scrimmage for first down right away. They pitch to White, and the Heisman Trophy candidate gets to the 35-yard line. Era about White. What about the difference of running on artificial turf and grass?
Well, I definitely think that's an advantage to Lorenzo White. He runs much better on the turf than he does on natural grass, although he wouldn't tell you that.
The hurry up. Cuts coming to the left. Tackled at the 40. Will the Spartans keep going with this hurry up
attack? They're trying to change, if they can, the momentum in this ball game, trying to keep the Irish off balance so they can't substitute. And they're doing a good job thus far, although this is a second down play, third down. Third and about 2, right.
And nothing hurts a team that tries a hurry up than to be stuffed in 3 downs and out.
Reverse.
Around.
There it goes.
Ingram. They are not stuffed. They've got the first down out at the 48-yard line. And Spence again in on the tackle along with Kovalevsky, the captain of the Irish this year.
You know, it's interesting. I watched the Spartans practice on Thursday, and they ran a number of reverses. They featured the right side more than they did the left, but there they came back with Ingram, who can really fly. Outstanding football player. Most valuable player in the All-American Bowl last season. He's a player.
This time, the Spartans break from the huddle. Willie Boyer is flanked out to the right. Rising to the left. And it's White. Getting to the 45-yard line. Now an opportunity while they huddle up to beat the rest of this offense. Mark Ingram, number 11. He broke that third down run for the first down. Mike Sargent is the tight end. And then a young man with Notre Dame ties, Bobby Morse, whose daddy led the way for Paul Horney. His brother played there. And then the big fella, Lorenzo White. What about him, Era?
Man that gained over 1,900 yards last year. And as I said, coming into this ball game, there's no way that you can hold this guy to 61 yards 2 games in a row. That's what Arizona State did last week.
They run Morse battling barreling his way for 3 yards before Mike Griffin, the nose tackle, takes him down. It's a good offensive line here at Michigan State. Tony Mandarich is out of Canada. He anchors the left side. Now what about the guards in the center, Era?
And Doug Rogers, who they say opens the door for Lorenzo White. He's a good one. Pat Shermer, an outstanding center. I watched him in the film against Arizona State. And Vince Tata stepping in for his first start. And Dave Houle at the right tackle spot.
Big moment for the line here. 3rd and 1. White. First down. Toss at the 40-yard line. Brought down at the 36 by Lawrence, the free safety.
Watch the blocking here from the end zone shot here. It looks like Lorenzo is going to be stopped. You see number 49, Kovalevsky, gets picked off right there by Bobby Morris, number 21. And he hits the corner. Look at the speed that Lorenzo has. Great job. Number 23, Steve Lawrence, finally gets him out of bounds with help from Troy Wilson.
Good lead block by Boyer, number 17, the wide receiver that time. He cracked out there, didn't he? So the first down with the ball at the 35. Spartans trailing the Irish by a field goal. And Urema to put it up. Interference.
I want to see that one again.
That was Troy Wilson on Boyer.
Urema had his fullback wide open in the flat here. He elected to take the deeper receiver. From the first angle that I saw here, here's an end zone shot. You watch, he fakes the ball. You'll see the fullback wide open in the flat. He'll come into the picture right there. Now let's see what happens here. Oh, he might have had his left arm on him.
Era, I thought he had his arm on him all the way when I watched
the right arm knocks the ball away. His left arm does the damage. Good call.
The one behind him.
Another look from this angle here. He makes contact just before the ball gets there, and he's got his left arm on him.
So it is a 1st and 10. The Spartans have the ball at the Irish 22. Harold, what about the speed of Holtz's defensive unit? White seems to be getting quickly to the outside here.
They've got to contain him. They've got to drive him back to the inside where they can get some support from their linebackers. He's got the kind of speed. He ducks inside and then breaks it to the outside, and they haven't been able to catch him before he picks up positive yardage. Two tight ends on the right side, and they clear it out.
Too.
They really blocked it.
Got down to the 16-yard line, and here's that Irish defense under fire right now. Robert Banks has been moved inside from his linebacking spot of a year ago.
Mike Griffin stepped in at nose to help out Lippincott, who hurt a leg. Wally Klein did a great job last week.
Now, Darrell Gordon is on the outside. What about the inside backers, Era?
And Weisenhofer and Kovalevsky, both as the inside linebackers, played very solid football last week.
And Cedric Figaro, the other outside man. Boy, he's got a tough job. Keep White inside if he can. There they force him inside. That was superb defense that time. And Griffin was able to make the tackle, but the key is get him up inside.
What's happening is Bobby Morris stepped in there and got a great block right in the hole. And he is doing an outstanding job. I talked to him yesterday, and he's about 210 pounds now. He's really built up into a man.
We'll see the Sooners next week.
Yes, we will. It's going to be a heck of a ball game.
This is 3rd and 2. White got the first down. Let's take a look at this Notre Dame defense as it sets up on 3rd and 2. Now, White has an option. He can go outside or he can turn it back up inside at any moment, as he did there. He has carried 7 times for 31 yards and a first down for Michigan State just outside the 10-yard line. They can still get a first down without scoring, but they'd be awfully near the end zone.
Unbalanced line to the right. They had the extra man there. Look at him cut back to the daylight.
That's a play that they wanted to run late in the game against Arizona State last week, but Perles got confused over on the sideline, and they inadvertently called a timeout, and they were down to 1. But this time, they break White right up the middle, inside the 5-yard line, and the Spartans look very effective on this drive.
Really do. Vince Tata, at the right guard spot, who stepped in there for Hill, is doing a great job of blocking. As a matter of fact, the whole right side is blocking well. Whole Sargent and the rest of that whole group in there. There they are unbalanced again, Brent. You see 4 men to the right of the center. Here they come behind the power side.
And a good tackle.
That's Banks, I think, 56. Good job by Banks. They were loaded up there. He was stretched out. He beat the blockers and came right up in there and did a job. He was named the best defensive player of the year at the Columbus, Ohio Touchdown Club last year.
3:40 to go in the opening quarter here at East Lansing. 3-0. Notre Dame over Michigan State, but the Spartans threatening. This is a 3rd down for Urema. White. The Irish string him out and bring him down hard at the 9-yard line. Troy Wilson, the corner, came up with great run support.
What great job by Troy Wilson. He sheds a block, comes back off of the block. If you look, this is a ground level. You'll see 12 at the top of your picture. You can't see him avoid the block right there. There's White trying to get the outside. Watch Wilson, 12, come up, make the support. White almost gets over top of him. What athletic ability.
This will be a 25-yard field goal attempt by Chris Caudell, who had one blocked in the closing moments of that loss last Saturday night to Arizona State. The blocker came from the right side of the offensive line. There was a hole. No good. The Irish still lead by a field goal. And a brilliant drive by Michigan State comes up empty. Notre Dame will take over when we return. First time since '64, the Raiders are 0-2. Here the Irish leading by a field goal, have a first down at the 20. They've used 6 running backs already, and Green is stuffed that time.
Great job by Dean Altobelli, who is the strong safety in this defensive front, and also that calls all the signals. Very bright youngster, outstanding guy, an academic All-American. Came here as a running back. Operating on a lot of wishbone, which surprises me more than I thought they would. I thought they'd use more open formations. Here they are in the bone again.
They break it quickly and get another wide man. Berline on a roll to the right. He hits the outside man, Alvin Miller.
Great route by Alvin Miller. He drove the defender off, and then he came back. Berline waited, got good protection. Here it is. You'll see it from the end zone. He fakes the sweep to the right to Green, number 24. Purnell Taylor, number 46, leads it. You'll see Alvin Miller come into your picture at the top. He comes back for the ball, which all good receivers should do. The ball is right on the money by Steve Berline.
17-yard gain. Lorenzo White listening to some instruction to the offensive unit. Berline perfect so far, 4 of 4 for 54 yards. Another first down, and they pound with Taylor, the fullback, off the left side of that big Notre Dame offensive line.
One of the reasons they use that dive, just straight ahead, try to get to them quickly if they can, because Michigan State is so quick, they react so well, that you got to get to them quick and bring the ball carrier as quick as you can to them. They don't use that very often, but they were successful with it for a few yards.
Era, how can one team change with a reminder that we will have all the halftime scores and highlights on the Prudential College Football Report coming up at halftime? Back to that question here in a moment. 2nd down and 5. Berline with the quick drop. Decide the outcome of football games, the mistakes that a team makes. The Irish with an underthrown pass, and Todd Krumm of the Spartans picking it off and turning momentum completely around here in East Lansing.
Todd Krumm was the leading interceptor last year with 4. He just picked one off for the score. In addition to that, get right back to it. Brent, that was a great defensive move. That was a call from the sideline, predetermined. And you'll see right from the end zone here, the move by Todd Krumm, number 35. Berline comes back 2 steps, delivers the quick out. he steps inside right there, picks it off, and goes all the way for the score. That's a defensive move. That should have been a pump and fake the way Krumm was there. Perles should have pumped the ball, let him turn up the middle, and it would have been a good one.
A look now at Perles' defensive unit at work. The quick drop. Krumm with the read off the camouflage, and he coaxed Perles into coming toward the sideline. Altobelli directly behind him as a bodyguard, and there was no chance for Perles to get an angle and bring him down. So Perles firing, and Krumm is right there. Michigan State leading 7-3, and we'll be right back.
Did you see?
This is Pat O'Brien in the front row. You know, they had a computer malfunction here, and they had to sell all the tickets, and so they had to put chairs right here by the sidelines, and this is where Todd Krumm stopped when he caught that interception. So I don't know how good a seats they are. Let's go back up to Brett.
As a souvenir, you might get a defensive lineman in your lap before this afternoon is over. All 280 pounds of it.
You should have been here in 1966.
Hey, yeah, you had some help on the sidelines, didn't you? With the fans all around you that day?
Oh, we sure did. I'll get to that in a minute, too.
Timmy Brown is deep. And the kick is short. Taken by the Irish and stopped short of the 15. So they kept it out of the hands of Tim Brown. We've got an update back in New York on Oklahoma. So let's go to Jim Nance.
Well, Brett, the Sooners certainly not looking past Minnesota. Here, early second quarter action out of the wishbone. The end around to their great tight end, Keith Jackson. 66 yards he will go, and watch the moves he makes to the end zone. He had the same run for a touchdown last year against Nebraska, and it worked once again. 21-0 second quarter. Let's go back to Brent.
Thank you, Jim. The Sooners on a roll, and here it's 7-3, Michigan State ahead. Dave Wolf slows up the ball carrier.
Number 83.
So Lou Holtz suddenly with his team behind. Of course, they fell behind by a couple of touchdowns to Bo Schembechler last week and came storming back.
They did come back, but momentum can shift. It really can encourage the Spartans, of course, and make it a little tough for the Irish.
Perles rolling to the left. Does not put it up. And now they will face a third down play. And the Michigan State defense is aroused by what's happening. Perles coming out to the left, looking for a receiver. But I would suspect, Era, that he's a little bit shy because of that interception he threw a few moments ago.
Well, he would be normally, but actually, as I looked down the field, the coverage was very good. He made a good decision there. And I'm sure he's a little gun-shy after throwing that interception, same side and so forth. But the coverage was good. They had single coverage on him.
The end of the first quarter here in East Lansing. The Spartans leading the Fighting Irish 7-3. An intercepted pass by Krumm, and we'll be back after this message and a word from your local station. Along with Era Parsegan, I'm Brent Musburger. We start the second quarter from East Lansing, Michigan, with the Spartans ahead of the Fighting Irish 7-3. Notre Dame struck first on a field goal, and then Todd Krumm intercepted a pass and ran it in from 44 yards out. This is a 3rd and 9 for Notre Dame to start the second quarter. Perles to the sideline, and Williams, who has run out right at the marker on the far sideline. Ron Rowe, nickelback, took him out.
Great throw by Perles under some pressure. 3rd down and long. He waits. Now he delivers, and he puts it right there. And he must have stepped out. Well, I guess he got the first down there.
Stepped across for the first down at the 23-yard line.
Well, you can see the yardage not quite doubled, but by the same token, Notre Dame had the ball almost 9 minutes to 6 for the Spartans.
But the biggest play in the first quarter was the intercepted pass. They run right straight ahead with Green.
with the ball. 24.
There, the Irish have used already a half dozen ball carriers in this game. It's like an endless supply over there on the sideline. It's not Pinkett left, Pinkett right, Pinkett up the middle anymore.
That's changed a little bit.
Perles has beaten Holtz, who was then the coach at Minnesota 2 straight years prior to this one. Holtz said he broke out last year's film, looked at it, and didn't realize how dumb he was. He said, how could I run plays like that? On second down, Berline. Safety valve is green. And he is close to a first down with Tim Moore, 42, in on that stop.
I think Berline certainly regained his composure if he had lost it after that touchdown interception, because he waited. He's getting a lot of pressure. He waited, and he did deliver the ball under a lot of heat.
Play brought in from the sideline by the tight end. Berline delivers it to the Irish offense. First down. Ball just shy of the Notre Dame 35. Faking left, going deep toward Jackson. Incomplete.
That went right through Jackson's hands. Watch Berline get hit after he releases the ball. He fakes a sweep, comes back, fakes the sideline pass, then up the field, boom. Well, he gets knocked down pretty good. Right, Jackson, right through his hands. You got to catch the ball.
Should have had the ball, and the defenders were converging at the end. He had fooled them by looking off to the left.
He did a good
Jackson to get some daylight.
Exactly right, Brent. You saw that very well. But Jackson, you got to catch the ball when you're a wide receiver.
Under pressure, he drops it off incomplete, and the fans say there was no ineligible receiver over there. So a big one unfolding in Tallahassee. Jim Nance, what's happening in that one?
Well, Brent, what a close finish it was. 36-yard field goal with 8 seconds to go. Derek Schmidt, they thought it was good, the Seminoles, but it was ruled wide left. It was that close. Schmidt 0 for 3 on the day, and the Tar Heels end up in a tie with Florida State. Let's go back to Brendan Era.
That, a look at the coach. Coach Krumm broke a leg in the first half of that game, was watching from the sideline. That's actually a fine performance by the Tar Heels. They stay unbeaten once tied. Here it's Berline going deep and incomplete. Tim Brown stopped at around the 40-yard line and had no chance to catch up with that pass.
Good coverage by the Spartans that time on all the receivers. Berline had no choice but to throw the ball away.
So, here's a chance for Lou Holtz to look at his punter.
Yeah, first time this year they didn't have to punt once last week, and it looks like they're coming after it. They got 10 men on the line of scrimmage, Brent. Uh-oh. They got it. Oh, fortunate bounce for the Irish.
How about that bounce off a blocked kick? Let's just say that one was partially blocked. 25 yards, and the Irish are thankful for every one of them. We'll be right back. Era, how about that block punt?
Watch here. That's Buddy right there, comes clean, and you'll watch right here's Bergen comes. The fullback turns of Notre Dame to block Buddy, and Bergen comes in and blocks the punt. Watch it, take a look at it. Right there. The Irish get a favorable bounce out of that ball because they got 25 yards, and it could have been a score for the Spartans.
You saw it coming, Coach. You said they were lined up to go out after it. I think that Lou would prefer not to see his punter after that.
Yeah, that's about right.
First down for Dave Urema and the Spartans. They lead the Irish 7-3. Fake to White. Gives Urema time. Goes deep toward Ingram. He drops it at the 16-yard line.
Ingram split the defenders beautifully. They get an isolated look right here. Ingram, number 11. You see, Troy Wilson, number 5, is really the strong safety. Makes a fake to the outside. And number 12, that is Troy Wilson. I'm sorry, it was Randy Wells, number 5. Here you are. Oh, he almost gets that ball, Steve Lawrence. And that's Jackson and Ingram now both have dropped the equivalent of touchdown passes or long, big gainers.
Second down and 10. And the ball is at the Spartan 40-yard line. They roll around, and Ingram holds on this time. Inside the 45-yard line with Wilson again.
See how smart that offensive thinking is? They almost beat him deep. You know the defensive halfback is going to drop back. He's going to give him a big cushion. That's exactly what happens. There's Randy Wells, number 5. And you'll see Troy Wilson give him big cushion. You can't even see him here. He's running backwards looking for the deep. Ingram turns out right there for a 13-yard reception and then picks up 2 or 3 after that. Great offensive thinking from the sideline. Great job.
Boyer is out to the left in this formation. Rising to the right. Here's White. Runs hard up the middle, and Wally Klein, big right tackle, number 96, swats him down. Well, a reminder that Era and I will be selecting the Chevrolet players of the game. We'll select them in the 4th quarter, and then Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools. That'll come down in the 4th quarter. Second down for Dave Urema and the Spartans. And the ball is at the Notre Dame 40-yard line. Off a fake. Complete. Ingram out of bounds at the 26-yard line. That's a 14-yard gain. Dave Urema is an impressive quarterback who doesn't get too much publicity.
Mark Ingram last week only caught 1 pass, while Rison caught 5. Now they're picking over here on Ingram. They're giving him a lot of cushion over here. Right there again, plenty of daylight, and Urema's right on target. This is a guy who can run 4.5 and average 21.8 per catch last season.
Ball at the 26 with this first down. They run to the wide side with White. A hole, he squirts through inside the 20. Well, Lorenzo's mother is here. Let's go down to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Thank you, Brent. Gloria, enjoying the game. Now, when Lorenzo was growing up, did you encourage him to play football?
Yes, I did.
What did you teach him?
Oh, well, the basics of things of life.
You get nervous watching him play?
All the time.
And this is Lorenzo's daughter, Monique. Want to say hello, Monique?
Hi.
Oh, hey, pretty good. Throw it back to Brent.
Thank you, Pat. What'd she teach him? She taught him how to run quickly to the dinner table. And look at him. Down inside the 15-yard line. He, of course, is a Heisman Trophy candidate. Lorenzo, how much do you want to win the trophy?
Yes, it's a personal goal, that I would like to achieve, for myself, when I get older, I can look back onto it and say, hey, I have this thing right there that's staring me in my face, the trophy. And, I just like to go out and do everything I can, I don't want it to distract me, from my team playing, but like I say, I would like to win.
Here's his 14th carry. Jumps over the tackler, gets to the outside, close to the 10-yard line with Troy Wilson, who has certainly been an active member of that secondary.
Boy, is he some kind of back? Most backs, Brent, have, smaller feet, 9, 10, size. Lorenzo's got 12 and a half double E's. He can really move him, though, can he?
If you don't hit him around the waist, try to grab a shoe when it goes by. That's probably what the defensive coordinator tells those linebackers. We saw him have a great game against Iowa. Was he something that day? Ray Perkins with a good team. He was behind by a touchdown earlier on. Urema with great time. Incomplete. Wanted Ingram near the goal line. And again, it is number 12, Wilson. That's secondary for Lou Holtz. What about the defensive secondary of the Irish, Era?
Well, they've got Troy Wilson, as a matter of fact. I was talking to Lou Holtz about him. He's really high on him. He was really pleased the way he played. but you wouldn't know it. You think they came from England, for goodness sake. You look at their names: Troy Wilson, Brandy Wells, Steve Lawrence, and Marvin Spence. I mean, I say, old chap.
Third down for Dave Urema. He is 3 of 4 on third downs.
All reverse. There it is.
Rising, looking for daylight, and the Irish crush it. Right at the 7-yard line. Jeff Alm, number 90, was in on the tackle, and you know who, number 12. He's everywhere.
He is, really. We saw the Spartans rehearse that play on Thursday a number of times. I thought Andre Rison, number 1, could have run that a little bit better. Could have faked it. It looked like he ran right into the defenders. A little like White will fake to the inside, break inside or outside. Andre didn't do that time.
This will be a 24-yard field goal attempt by Caudell. The Spartans lead Notre Dame by 4, 7-3. It's good. So with Lorenzo White's mother from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, watching, her son's team moves up by 7. We'll be right back.
Today's
Steve Berline has returned as the Notre Dame quarterback, and from the wishbone steps quickly to the left, and he is hauled down by Mark Nichols.
Boy, the coverage by Krumm that time was just outstanding. Number 35, the defensive right halfback. Berline wanted to throw the ball. It was a misdirection pass, but Krumm did a beautiful job of staying right on top. I think it was Alvin Miller, number 17.
The big statistic with Berline and the Irish, that 1 interception, that resulted in the only touchdown that we have had here so far this afternoon. 6:30 to go in the first half. Tim Brown will go over into a slot. Jackson is outside. This is 2nd and 11.
He's offside. The slot back.
And the flag is down on the offside. The pass is caught by Brown inside the 45-yard line.
Brown was the guy that was offside. He jumped across the line before the ball was snapped. It all goes for naught. 5-yard penalty. Watch the man in the slot at the top of the screen, the second man in. Watch him break just before the ball is snapped. Right there, you see him break? You see a little mistake like that. Look what it nullifies. A big gain, another negative 5 yards. You can't make mistakes.
On their first play, the tight end moved, cost them 5 yards, resulted in a big gain.
Exactly.
The interception, the game's only touchdown. A 40-yard gain nullified. So those are the mistakes that determine the outcome of almost all football games, whether it be college or professional.
It's a game of mistakes. You got to make less than your opponent.
So it is 2nd and 16 for Berline. Single setback. Brown out of the slot from the right, and that one is caught underneath. Alvin Miller. That's Alvin Miller.
Alvin Miller clear at the lower part of your screen. Watch him cross all the way over, and Berline has enough time to throw him the ball. Crosses underneath. Keeps coming. The ball is really thrown very hard. Alvin Miller made a good catch there, but still good coverage.
They've got 3rd and 9, and the Irish are only 1 of 5 on 3rd downs against Perles' defense. Incomplete, intended for Jackson. That was a fine defensive play by Miller.
Ball was thrown behind him, I think, that time, Brent. Try to reach back to get it. And Notre Dame is forced to punt. Looks like they're going to deploy for a return rather than a rush.
Spartan fans love this. The Irish didn't have to punt once against Bo Schembechler. And here today, they've forced Notre Dame into punting 3 times in the first half. Sorensen bangs one, and a fair catch at the 43-yard line by Krumm. 5 minutes to go after that 36-yard punt. And Era, just as we said at the top of the show, all eyes focused on Notre Dame. I have never seen a team get such favorable publicity, especially Notre Dame, coming off a loss as they did. But they walked into a Lions den here today against George Perles.
You got a reverse situation. Lou Holtz had his opener at Notre Dame last week. They're all motivated. They're high. Now Michigan State has their opener at home after losing a close ball game last week.
Ingram in the slot, but they'll run White straight ahead, and he spins out of a tackle and gets out to the 48-yard line. Mike Griffin had him wrapped up, and he got away. So tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern time, the NFL today, and then our games are early ones. Atlanta-Dallas is the big game, and the Cowboys are now saying they're not too sure about Danny White. Hip flexor may or may not keep him out against Atlanta. Funny how a lot of those fellows show up on a Sunday, they feel so much better, isn't it? Well, that's our first game, and you'll also have a doubleheader on CBS tomorrow with the Giants taking on the Raiders, and that's a dandy. The Raiders, of course, 0-2, and trying to win for the first time. Second down, and the Irish snipped this one out. There was no fooling Big Wally Klein that time, Aaron.
They did a good job in there. You'd see 49, Mike Sargent, who was the tight end, was actually in the wing position, and they came in motion in trying to make the Irish think that they were going to go to the field with White, but they didn't fool the Irish that time. Good defensive play. Klein did quite a job.
George Streeter came in the game and was blitzing on that play from the secondary. They had substituted him into that defensive backfield, and he was able to get some penetration. So Foge Fazio, who is Lou Holtz's defensive coordinator, changes up a little bit that time. 3rd and 9. Urema overthrows, intercepted by Troy Wilson.
You had it right, Brent. Exactly. Overthrown. The receiver would have been open. Troy Wilson might have been able to respond to it, but Urema just threw it over top of him.
A lot of time for the Irish. 3:35. We'll be right back. Well, watch how far Troy Wilson is off Rison. 12 yards staying behind him. Fortunately for Wilson, the ball was badly overthrown. And the senior from Frederick, Maryland, is able to make an interception, and the ball's at the 37.
Troy Wilson had to jump up to get the football. I mean, it was so far overthrown. A little birthday present. He has a belated one. It was his birthday yesterday, Brent.
Irish split backs. Berline to throw on first down. Underthrew, and he was under fire. That Spartan defense breathing fire with Travis Davis, number 75, leading the assault on Berline.
Travis is 6'2", 260, and you put a lot of heat on him. He really came through.
That interception has thrown Berline off. He has completed only one of his last 6 passes. He has not been the same since the interception, which resulted in the Michigan State touchdown.
He'll probably hit one now.
2nd and 10.
Reverse.
Come with Tim Brown, and the Spartans will get it. Penalty marker is down. No question about the late hit by Kurt Larson. There was no need for Larson to jump in. I think even he realized it and tried to pull back at the last instant. They were so determined to stop this play. They rehearsed reading this all week long, Era.
Great job by Shane Buller that comes in here. Watch him come from the right side of your screen. He drops the ball. This is Shane that comes in right at Larson, that was bad judgment there. 15-yarder, first down. The old rule would not have given him a first down. You see that, Brent, because of the negative yardage. Now this should be an automatic first down.
The ball is on the Irish 44-yard line with 3:24 to go here in the first half. The fellas with the yard line markers aren't too sure. Now
they got it.
They run into position. And the first down is signaled to the crowd. From the wishbone. Brown, the left half. Play fake. They send Brown quickly to the pattern, but he's covered. Berline throws back for him. Incomplete. And that was an ill-advised throw into the middle of the field with that many green jerseys.
Brent, I'm very much impressed with the Michigan State secondary. Their response to the ball. Perles was flushed out of the pocket, came back right here to our sideline. The receivers were open. They were open momentarily. Then the defensive response of the Spartan secondary is just exceptional. And again, as you pointed out, that was not a good judgment on the part of Perles to throw that ball. Altabelli and Miller have been doing a great job in that secondary.
Here's that same formation arrow with one wrinkle. Brown is the right halfback. And timeout is called by Perles at the 3:10 mark here in the first half. So Perles goes over to confer with Coach Holtz. And we'll be back to East Lansing in a moment. We're back at Spartan Stadium. We've been talking about Lorenzo White here the first half. But what about the job done by Tony Jeffrey out of TCU? 343 yards and 5 touchdowns for Coach Jim Wacker. He had runs of 11, 38, 32, 81, and 67, all of them for scores. Amazing performance. And Jim Wacker, how'd he do it? Come on in here and tell us.
That was an incredible day, I'll tell you. What do you think the key was?
The key was offensive lineman, Coach.
The offensive lineman, them skinny guys?
Big guys.
Like Jim Hopkins and Mike Fuller and Glenn Haley and W.C.
Oh, go Frogs. What a job. Hey, that Wacker's got a little enthusiasm, doesn't he, Coach?
He sure does. I'd be slapping somebody's hands, too, if I had a back run for 300
I think that's a coach's show I might watch. Second down and 10. 3:10 to go in the first half. Notre Dame with possession. They trail Michigan State 10-3 here in the first half. Perles dropped by Taylor. And it's an incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. It'll be a third down.
Tried the little shovel pass. Timing was off on it. Mishandled also.
So it'll be 3rd and 10, and Perles' defense made some adjustments after that first drive by the Irish, and they have been so successful ever since.
They really have. They're using a lot of different combination coverage as well as stunts in the line, and it does have the Irish off balance. And also, the Irish haven't looked at that even look that the Spartans use. They're going in more of a prevent here.
Pump fake, left side, knocked away at the last instant. And again we see a defensive back, that one Ron Rowe, number 18, who swatted the ball away, intended for Timmy Brown.
It looked like the ball was going to be received. He's got a step on him right here. Rowe, number 18, steps in and bats the ball away. Tremendous job defensively. Ron Rowe, 5'10" and 172 pounds, jumped up and deflected that ball. It would have been a big gainer for the Irish.
Michigan State will get a possession. 2:57, bad snap. Sorensen comes down with it.
What a good
hands by Sorensen.
Oh.
To control that and get it off to Morse down at the 11-yard line.
What a play by Sorensen is right. That could have been
44-yard punt. You know, frequently punters are very good athletes, and I believe Sorensen was an excellent baseball player as a young man.
Not only that, he's 6'3". If he's 5'10", he doesn't get it, or 6'1", he doesn't get it. 6'3", jumps up and gets that ball. Great reaction by Sorensen. Great athletic ability there.
Well, he didn't see the action last week, but he said, oh, my.
He's got that look in his eye, too, doesn't he?
Is this the way it's going to be the rest of this year? Here's White looking for daylight. One of those backs dangerous on every carry, isn't he?
You know, Sorensen is looking here. He won 4 letters as a hockey goalie. I mean,
that's why he's got the hands. Well, next Saturday, this could be the game of the year. You know, I suppose it would be easy to overhype this, but Oklahoma and Miami, there's going to be a real war down in there. 3:30 Eastern time is the starting time, and folks, the Sooners are going to roll in number 1, number 2 Miami idle. We'll hear from Jimmy Johnson and Vinny Testaverde at the half. Great young quarterback. Right up the middle, little cutback on the carpet. Gets out to the 28, and Wells snaps him down there. So it is 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Spartan Stadium, East Lansing, Michigan. I'm Brent Musburger along with Ara Parsegan. Notre Dame took the opening kickoff, marched down and kicked a field goal. It was 3-0, but Todd Krumm intercepted a pass, ran it in for a Spartan touchdown. That made it 7-3. Ara, how about your thoughts so far?
Well, a big play, I think, has been the Spartan defense. They've done a remarkable job. Now, the offense has been doing a good job. Here's White.
Another first down, and already here in the first half, he has surpassed last week's rushing total of 61 yards. He now has 19 carries for 83 yards here this afternoon.
You know you're not going to hold a great back like that. That was that sprint draw that we saw them run so successfully last year against Iowa as well as Michigan. And they repeated it again here with the same blocking combination on the inside. Shermer and Rogers and Tata doing a great job.
Here's White to the short side, and he is stacked up. He couldn't get away from Weisenhofer. Number 36, Weisenhofer, one of the inside linebackers here for the Irish. Tackling him there, and Michigan State uses a timeout. They're inside of 1:20, and while we've got a break, this is a beautiful campus here in East Lansing. Let's take a look at it.
At America's premier land-grant university, we've produced 5 Rhodes Scholars in 4 years, and the nation's most widely used anti-cancer drug. We're the home of the nation's Institute for Research on Teaching and the national superconducting cyclotron. We're proud to be the pioneers of the land-grant commitment serving people. On the banks of the Red Cedar, Michigan State University, East Lansing.
The University of Notre Dame grew from a vision of Father Edward Sorin, who wanted to build an American Catholic university, the equal of the great medieval universities. Today, Notre Dame is the best-known Catholic university in the world, a residential campus where students come not only to learn, but to learn how to live. Notre Dame serves contemporary society and the church in whose tradition it was founded by being a place where belief informs scholarship, where values give meaning to facts.
There are a lot of beautiful campuses actually across this great land, up at Cornell and Stanford, but I really think one of the more underrated is right here at East Lansing. I think it's beautiful every time you drive around here in the fall. A great stadium, great fans.
I never thought so. The only thing I saw with this 120 yards by a little over 50.
I gave you a chance to look yesterday.
No, it's pretty now. Screen. Set up.
It's a White.
Oh, great job.
Excellent defensive job by Dave Butler, senior out of Sylvania, Ohio.
Butler did an outstanding job there because that was set up. That screen was set up. He doesn't make that play, they're going down that sideline for 20-30.
Inside of a minute, time ticking down. Ray Perkins leading Florida by a couple of touchdowns. That one of the big wins today. Maryland under Bobby Ross with another good football team. West Virginia struggling a bit this year. All the scores and highlights coming your way. Jim Nance with the Prudential College Football Report. He's due up here shortly. So with Ingram in motion, fumble. Notre Dame has recovered with 34 seconds to play at the 30-yard line. Jeff Coons roars in, knocks that ball free from White, and forces that turnover. So some of the reserves on this team doing a job with Cedric Figaro pouncing on the loose ball. Watch this young man knock it loose here.
Coons comes in here. There's a reverse pivot by Urema. He fakes the ball to White. Well, he gave the ball to White there. I thought he had faked the ball to him. And Coons just shakes it loose. He didn't have much time because Coons had so much penetration.
Great chance for the Irish here with 34 seconds to go in the first half. Berline from the eye. They'll have Tim Brown outside. Berline rolling over to the left. Under fire. Secondary covers up. Now he'll keep it. He needs to get out of bounds. He turns upfield at the 22-yard line. The clock got to the 21-second mark.
You know, Berline, you're right. Berline didn't use good judgment there. He should have run the ball out of bounds and saved the timeout.
You want to save as many timeouts, and that's exactly what Lou is telling him. Get out of bounds. You see that broken finger there on Lou's right hand? Folks, let me tell you something. He went outside and during practice one day. He said, I can catch a punt. Well, it turned out, yeah, he can catch it, but he broke a finger on his right hand. I really don't want to laugh about it because it's a pretty serious break. A couple of doctors wanted to operate it, and Lou said, I've got enough time to operate. I got plays to call. So that's the third time he smashed that finger. I don't think he'll be out there showing those punt returners how to catch that ball. Do you ever do that, Aaron?
I used to.
Well, here's a second down now. 21 seconds to go. Let's check the timeout situation. The Irish have one remaining after using that one, and Michigan State 2. So it's very careful. What would you do here, Era?
Really, I would have thought Perles would have run that ball out. He's a senior quarterback. I don't think he has to be told after 4 years that run that ball out, save the timeout. Now they're reduced to one timeout, and what you wind up with, you have a real problem, because if you complete a pass in the field of play in the middle area and you have but one timeout, you don't have much chance, because you have to call that one timeout, kick the field goal, and it restricts what you can and cannot do.
Well, got a delay while the officials get some of the folks back from that in line so they can take a good, careful look at it back there with some of the fans down there in the chairs. That story that Pat O'Brien covered a little bit early, and now the band's getting ready to come out at halftime. And we've got quite a traffic jam down there, and so the officials want to make sure they get a good, clean look at those in lines. You know, I saw the coverage in Sports Illustrated. I've seen all the television replays, and I still can't decide, Era, whether or not Notre Dame had a touchdown taken away from them last week. If he scored, I don't think you can tell yet whether or not that foot comes down in bounds.
No, you really can't, but the comment that was made was that they're an official right on the site, and one of the things that they thought is the receiver, Williams, may have stepped on the line before he caught the ball, which is no longer an eligible receiver. Here we go.
Second down. Clock ticking. Perles under pressure. And it's incomplete at the 14-second mark. Mark Nichols had applied the defensive pressure. Number 83 led the Spartan charge with 14 seconds to go.
Watch Brown, number 81, come up the field, break to the inside, and go in behind the defender. Of course, the defender, Altobelli, right there, leaves him after he sees Perles scrambling away. Coverage was there until they saw Perles roll away from him.
Now, what's critical here at 3rd and 2 is if you keep the ball in play in the middle of the field at the 14-second mark, tell that referee that you want a timeout immediately as soon as you get down. Perles back. Drops it off. Green breaks a tackle, splits for the first down at 5 seconds. And oh, was that an important first down, because the clock stops immediately, and that gives the Irish enough time to get Carney on the field against George Perles here. With time running out, John Carney will attempt a field goal that can pull the Irish to within 4 points.
Great defensive effort by the Spartans. Receivers were covered, and the screen pass was well supported by the secondary. They've just done an outstanding job thus far.
That graphic, of course, was referring to this game that we have here. 5 seconds to go for Carney. This is a 37-yard attempt. He made one from the 27, which put Notre Dame ahead. No good. And time has run out. So Lou Holtz and the Fighting Irish go into the locker room trailing 10-3. And it was in the first quarter when Perles, who was moving the Irish, tried to look the defensive back off. Came back to his left, and defensive back Todd Krumm snapped it away and dashed 44 yards for the touchdown. That put the Spartans ahead, and they have stayed that way as we hit the half here in East Lansing. It is 10-3, Michigan State over Notre Dame. Jim Nance is coming up with Jimmy Johnson and Vinny Testaverde. Later, we could still wind up with a 10-10 score, Notre Dame and Michigan State. Who will ever forget that game 20 years ago? Era Parsegan had jet black hair in those days.
Well, it still brings back that frustration and that tenseness and that tightness.
And this was the game of the century. Two teams pitted against one another. The winner to come out, you know, as the best team of that year, as the national champion.
Probably if we had run across Notre Dame in the parking lot, we'd probably fought them. That's how
how crazy we were.
It was the game of the century. Two teams pitted against one another. The winner to come out, as the best team of that year, as the national champion.
Probably if we had run across Notre Dame in the parking lot, we'd probably fought them. That's how crazy we were.
Today, it is still the game. Number 2 ranked Duffy Doherty's Spartans against top-ranked Era Parsegan's Irish. Michigan State moved out to a 10-0 lead, keyed by Regis Cavender's touchdown run. Terry Hanratty was injured, and the Irish backup Coley O'Brien threw long for Bob Gladio. A field goal tied it.
I was just thrown into the fire there and tried to play as we had been instructed to do with the game plan that Era had laid out for the game.
With Bubba breathing fire on O'Brien, the Irish ran out the clock. 20 years after the tie, the argument still rages. Who was number 1?
We felt that we were defending national champs, and just like a heavyweight champion, he's never dislodged from his crown on a tie decision. You have to beat him, and we weren't beaten.
Era made the right decision, certainly. We were national champions, and we have the rings to prove it.
Even now, today, Coach, they want to talk about the conclusion of that game.
Well, Coley O'Brien had it just about right, Brent. He stepped in under trying circumstances, led us after we were down 10-0 to tie the game up, and he's got it just about right, as I said. Our goals were to be undefeated and the national champions. We did do that, and I'd like to straighten out one thing. A lot of the young people today, it's been 20 years ago, they think we went for a tie, kicked an extra point at the end of the game. That game was knotted up on the first play of the 4th period. The game ended in a tie. If Duffy could have done anything about it, or I could have done anything about it, we would have.
All right, we're going to come back here. It is 10-3, Michigan State leading Notre Dame. Right after these messages from your local station.
This is CBS. You'll never have a better chance to change this into this. Your old TV set is worth up to $300 toward the purchase of a beautiful new Curtis Mathis portable console or big screen television. Yes, National Trade-In Days are here again at Curtis Mathis. And in addition to sale prices, you get all the Curtis Mathis extras, like our 4-year warranty on parts and labor, free delivery and installation, and more. Your old TV set is worth money right now at Curtis Mathis in Lansing, Jackson, and Okemos.
If you grew up with rock and roll, it's an important part of your life. That's why at 92.7 WMMQ, we brought classic rock and roll back to Lansing.
The Beatles!
The most digital classics from compact disc. Lansing's home of classic rock and roll. 92.7 WMMQ.
The laughs keep coming this fall on Three's Company.
CBS Sports presents college football, sponsored by Toyota, builder of tough, powerful, reliable trucks. Toyota. Rico, copiers built to work. And by Castrol, the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars. And on an overcast afternoon here in East Lansing, Michigan, let's go to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Brent, I'm with Foge Fazio, the defensive coach for Notre Dame. What kind of adjustments are you going to make, Foge?
Well, the big thing is that in the first quarter, we had to really run to the outside. Our tackles, our ends, our support was halfway decent. Our linebackers, and naturally, when you start overrunning it, you're trying to track them down, they start cutting the ball back. Now we got to get a little bit heavier on the inside to take away that cutback. That's about the biggest adjustment you have to make.
Let's go play the game.
All right, we'll come right back to Foge. Do you see that yawning Michigan State fan? He's saying, I don't care what you're going to do, Foge. We got an answer for it.
Well, the rest of the folks in this stadium are more interested, I'll tell you that.
So it is Craig Johnson returning it here. And he gets out into the 25-yard line as we start the second half. Lorenzo White, 21 carries for 72 yards. Quarterbacks in the first half. Urema was 3 of 9 and 1 interception. Berline 8 of 18 for 1 interception. And he cooled off considerably after Krumm ran it in. He was only 4 of 13 for 25 yards after that interception. So it is White to carry on first down behind the left side of his offensive line. Weisenhofer makes the stop for the Irish.
Good job by the left side of the Spartan line, making contact with the defenders and keeping their legs up under them. And Lorenzo just powered up for about 4 yards on the play.
Well, what did you think about Fazio's observations about White and what the defense must do against him in the second half?
Well, it's very interesting. I know that they'd like to see him do a little better job on White. Overall, it's been a pretty good defensive battle with the edge going to the Spartans, I believe.
White. Great run for a first down, and he almost busted it. Bob had a hand around him and brought him down by the leg after an 11-yard gain here.
James Bob doesn't get him. Watch here, just a pitch sweep to the right. Good. You see the right guard pulling. Number 61 is Tata. Now look at him cut back to the daylight as Tata blocks out. Now watch him break to the outside again. A 19, Bob comes over here and just gets him. Troy Wilson is just coming off of a block, number 12.
Kovalevsky over-pursued a little bit as he cut back inside, and the Irish captain could not recover in time to plug up that hole. And this time, White takes it down after a short gain into the heart of that Notre Dame defense.
Looked like White had already made up his mind that he was going to cut it back and turn over the middle, and there wasn't anything there. I was watching. I don't know what was pre-designed that time that way, but it appeared that he turned very quickly back to the inside.
Last weekend, Arizona State left the middle open, and the tight end of Michigan State was able to get in there and catch some passes. The Irish seem to have taken that play away here defensively.
They have thus far, but they've been running the ball pretty consistently, and I'm talking about the Spartans. Here he's going to give it back on the cutback again, but they're staying at home now. The Irish linebackers are staying where they belong.
There's a penalty down on that play. The penalty flag was thrown right at the tackle. And Wally Klein gets up after bringing the runner down.
There's a holding here. Here we are in the trenches where a lot of contact goes on. Let's see if we can pick up the hold here. 61 has got his, it looks like 61 Tata has got a hold of him. Yep, I think that's the call. Klein brought him down.
So the ball is being stepped off as a result of that holding to inside the 35-yard line. And the spot will be the 34.
On the offense, second down.
The offensive blockers have got to keep their hands inside the frame of their body. They get it to the outside, reach out, grab a hold. That's a holding call. It was called by the umpire, and now they're forced into a long yardage situation, second down.
18 yards to be exact here for Dave Urema. White very deep in that I formation. Ingram in motion. Penalty marker is down again on the play. Wisen steps out at the 44 for a first down, but there is a flag. And that could be holding again against the Spartans. Illegal motion. So a 22-yard gain is nullified.
They got a penalty on the play, huh? Here we are. Watch this man in motion here as he comes out here, does a curl, and you'll see Risen come down and break to the outside with a roll. But unfortunately, watch the execution of this is beautiful. The fact that there's a penalty on this is going to hurt him. As you see, watch Risen turn to the outside, and then the throw is right on the mark. Even though this is called back, this will be used again because it was wide open.
Now the ball is back on the Michigan State 29-yard line, and it is 2nd and 23. Brought down by George Streeter.
That's one of the few times that the defender is able to avoid Bobby Morris, who's been blocking well. Morris was blocking on Streeter. Streeter escaped the block and came in and made the play.
Earl, what would Perles' strategy be here? 3rd and very, very long. Would he throw for it or be content because he has such a good punter to turn it over and let the Irish come out deep?
Brent, I think he's got a lot of confidence in Urema. I really do. And he's got 2 great wideouts with Risen and Ingram. Here he comes back on the pass. He's going to throw it. And it's going for the big one.
For it. Ingram overthrowing. The crowd wanted interference, but both
today. He's played an outstanding game. The coverage was excellent. And here we come with a big... You see right here, the ball is thrown over his right shoulder, and Ingram actually moves into Troy Wilson. No interference on that play. Greg Montgomery, the great punter here for Michigan State, is a transfer from Penn State. Brent? There he goes.
So it's Wilson. Down at the 35-yard line. Now there's a penalty marker thrown down at the sideline. A penalty flag is thrown in the direction of where that tackle was made. It was a 47-yard punt by Montgomery and a 16-yard return by Wilson. Let's take a look at the end of that, Aaron, and see if we can pick up something over here on the sideline.
Let's see what happens here. Knocked out of bounds. Can't see anything certainly from that angle.
Against Notre Dame. It's a personal foul against the Irish. So the penalty is against the Irish over there on the sideline. There was some pushing as the play came out of bounds, and so Notre Dame again is its own worst enemy. We'll be right back.
Looking out for number one. Looking out for number one. Toyota. Looking out for you with the Toyota 1-ton. With over a ton of payload, it's strong enough to outcarry any mid-sized truck and can tow up to 2.5 tons. Looking out for number one. Looking out for you has made Toyota number one in compact truck sales and truck satisfaction. Who could ask for anything more? Toyota.
Welcome to the Silver Bullet, home of a cold Coors Light.
Timbo, yo, where's Nadine tonight?
They're probably sitting by the phone waiting for yours truly. Give me a Coors Light, will you, sweet thing?
You guys have a little love spat?
Yeah, man's got to have some space. Gotta show these women who's boss. Gotta zig when they zag. Hey, I know it's brutal, but a man's got to do. But Nadine.
Yo. Oh, she looks miserable.
Yeah.
No slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Coming soon to CBS. Downtown.
Well, as a result of that dead ball foul, it'll be 1st and 25. And let's go to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Brent, I'm inside the press room here at Spartan Stadium. They call it the world's largest press facility. And you and Harry were talking about that 10-10 game 20 years ago. They issued 745 press passes for that contest. And one of them was for a cub reporter for the Chicago American named Brent Musburger. Brent, did you write good things about Era the next day?
I didn't second guess you, Coach.
I knew you would.
I thought you did the right thing. I thought Bubba Smith was all over Coley O'Brien. Believe me, I wouldn't jump on you for running out the clock and playing for a 10-10 tie. First down and 25 yards to go for Perles. Steps up in the pocket, throws, and incomplete. Almost intercepted. Intended receiver was Tim Brown, and Paul Bobbitt was there.
You see the ball response by the defensive secondary of the Spartans. As soon as that ball was in the air, even though the ball was thrown very quickly to the receiver, watch the ball response here. There's Perles, almost gets caught from the rear. But watch the green shirts come in here. 1, 2, Bullet. Actually, Brown did a good job in avoiding and keeping that from being intercepted. Good job by Brown.
Dave Wolf led the pressure, and it has been enormous here from George Perles' defensive front. The offensive line of the Irish with their hands full against this stunting, swarming defense. Good time. Passes dropped. Tim Brown simply dropped the ball.
I don't think he would have gotten the first down anyway. He caught it at about, and he still had 10 yards to go from the point of the catch.
Lou Holtz sends the play in. It'll be 3rd and 25 as we take an isolated look. Tim Brown, all alone, had broken away from Krumm, who seemed to be intent on adjusting his face mask.
You see, Miller and Bobbitt were right there to keep him from making first down.
Now from the shotgun. Perles showing the shotgun for the first time, and he's going to kick out of it. And it goes out of bounds. going to be marked inside the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
What about that decision?
A good decision. Good decision. Good thought. Lousy execution. Long yardage.
Era, why do you think on third down it was a good decision?
Because it had such long yardage to go. They had 15, 20, 25 yards to go. You see him talking right here. But I used to use the quick kick to great advantage. If he'd kicked the ball over the safety man's head.
That's when you were at Northwestern. You never had to punt it. Give me a punt.
Oh, yeah, I used it. I used it at Notre Dame. You ask him about a 90-yarder one time.
Well, they did have trouble with that one punt earlier. So here is a backup tailback for Michigan State. That's Craig Johnson. He's a sophomore out of Washington High in Massillon, Ohio. He has come into the game to replace White.
I like him, too. He's an outstanding running back. I believe he's actually faster than Lorenzo White. He can really fly. He's got great speed. Didn't have much opportunity that time to demonstrate it because it was well defense. But he's a good back.
Now we'll get a check and see if White is injured or they're just giving him a break here early. You would think from this position you'd want White in the game. Throw by Ingram for a first down.
There you see Ingram on the comeback. The same play that was called back on the earlier drive on the penalty. We see it on the other side. They came right back to it. Single coverage. Nobody underneath. Ingram goes down. Breaks to the outside. You can see Wilson, Troy Wilson, number 12, gives them a big cushion. And again, a great completion. They're not getting any sheltering underneath. And they're going one-on-one. And Urema rolls out and hits them.
Ball is at the 27-yard line. First down. We have 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Michigan State leads Notre Dame 10-3. Johnson has an alley inside the 10-yard line. Boy, that's a good-looking run. They didn't miss White on that.
It was well blocked and well run. Now, this is the Johnson who I was talking about. Watch him pick this daylight. He steps in here, reads it, breaks it to the outside, sees the seam right there, splits it with his speed. Ingram, number 11, trying to get a block on Wilson. Great running by Craig Johnson.
And Tony Mandarich and Doug Rogers, the left side of that offensive line, blew open the hole there for Johnson. So the first down is inside the 10-yard line. Ingram in motion. Going to bring Johnson to the short side, and he breaks a tackle and gained about a yard. Ron Weisenhofer, the linebacker, along with Cedric Figueroa, up to make the stop there for Lou Holtz against George Perles' Michigan State Spartans. So much was made about the Irish loss last week that we forget that Perles also had a tough loss, and he sends White into the game here with the ball at the 8-yard line and second and goal. Urema to throw it. Toward the corner, out of bounds.
Put good pressure on Urema that time.
Ingram, the receiver, working on the far side. Good defensive coverage here.
They did a good job of throwing the timing off. Here's Troy Wilson, number 12 on Ingram. Really a tough job. Stays right with him. Urema is forced to delay his throw. Now Ingram jumps out of bounds, obviously. But good job by Wilson.
This is an enormous defensive call for Foch Fazier. If he can keep them from 7 here and make them settle for 3.
Force a field goal.
It's a third and goal. Ball at the 8-yard line. Ingram and Risen, the two wide men for the Spartans, go to the right side.
They're probably trying to go single on Ingram or Risen out there. There he rolls out. There he is. There he is. Oh.
Incomplete. Big defensive play by Lou Holtz, his Fighting Irish.
Really was, because what Michigan State was trying to do is to create a single coverage on the two wide receivers. Notre Dame responded well. You see, they got single out here and they crossed down here. Wilson is zoning off. They weren't playing man.
And Caudell will attempt a 25-yard field goal for the Spartans. He's made one from 24 and missed one from 25. He makes this one. It It's a 10-point lead by the Spartans. 9:44 to go in the third period. We'll be right back to East Lansing.
In these days of microcomponent technology, you can find office copiers that do almost anything. Some duplex, sort, automatically reduce and enlarge.
Can I use your copier?
It's down again. Try 23.
Thanks.
Some collate and margin shift.
Is your copier working? Sorry. That's terrific.
But at Rico, we found that the most popular feature our copiers deliver is that our copiers deliver. Rico, copiers built to work and work and work.
There's a tendency in business to focus on the big picture. But at Cigna, we realize the big picture is actually made up of millions of smaller pictures. Which is why our companies provide an array of insurance, healthcare, employee benefits, and financial services to millions of individuals and thousands of businesses. One person at a time. Cigna, personalized service to business around the world.
Connie, Mom said we could charge Dad's birthday present with our Ace credit card, so long as it's under $5.
Well, the Ace Circular has our September Best Buys. After a $2 rebate, this paint roller and tray set is 44 cents.
Great, but Mom does the painting.
Or 30 Ace lawn and leaf bags for just $2.66.
But Mom does the yard work.
Well, how about this firefighter kitchen fire extinguisher? It's only $3.44 after rebate.
Great! Dad tries to cook. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man.
Here were the principals in this play. Kovalevsky and the two wide receivers. And here's what happens. And Kovalevsky will wipe off and force Urema to throw the ball. Let's take a look at it. The receivers both break to the outside. Urema is forced by Kovalevsky right there to throw the ball before the receivers open.
And as a result, the Spartans settle for a field goal, and they enjoy a 10-point lead at the 9:44 mark. Third period here in East Lansing. 13-3, the Spartans over the Irish. Notre Dame scored a field goal on its first possession, and they have not moved a numeral on that scoreboard since. Montgomery kicking it off. Brown back deep inside. Now he steps up to the 8. Out to about the 23-yard line, and Todd Krumm, who scored the only touchdown on that interception, brought him down there. Oh, key game down south today. Ray Perkins, as you see what Hayden Fry did. Woo, 57-0 over Northern Illinois. The Hawkeyes are rolling. Mike Shula, Ray Perkins' quarterback, was 11 of 16, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. And Bama rolls again. Erwin Bell for 235 yards. And not enough to beat the Crimson Tide. They run green, and he was spun around by that defensive front. Shane Bulla and Tim Moore, 42, leading the way. A lot of things happening right now. How about the Huskies today? Jim Nance, how they doing?
Well, Brent, Washington was driving using Rick Finney up the middle. Here they fake to the big fullback, and Chandler goes to Rod Jones, 6-yard touchdown. 22-7 Washington. Let's go back to the break, second quarter.
Yeah, that was no fluke last week when the Huskies crawled all over the Buckeyes. That's a good football team. Here's the tailback, Green. Broke out of a tackle and battles his way out near the 32-yard line. Mark Nichols, 83 and 13, Dean Altobelli. Ooh, that Nichols has had himself an afternoon defensively for Perles.
He really has, and Notre Dame has had a tough time running because of it. They've only gained 52 yards rushing in this ball game. I guess with that 6 yards brings it up to 58.
Third and 2 for Notre Dame. And there's a penalty marker down as Brown made the first down. John Buddy tackled him, but there is a penalty. And this one goes against the Spartans. So the Irish get a first down and stay alive. Though it is near 5 o'clock Eastern time, and along with Era Parsegan, I'm Brent Musburger, reporting from Spartan Stadium, East Lansing, Michigan, and let's get you up to date with what has transpired here this afternoon. The Irish scored first, an 18-yard field goal by Carney in the opening quarter, and it was 3-0. Then Todd Krumm intercepted a pass and ran 44 yards for the lone touchdown. Caudell made it 10-3 on a 24-yard field goal. That before the half. And moments ago, Caudell's second field goal made it 13-3. Here it is 1st and 10 for the Fighting Irish. The ball is out at their 38-yard line, and Green is struck that time. Kurt Larson and Dave Wolf bring him down.
Now, you just saw the reason that this game is going the way it is. The Spartan defense has dominated in this entire football game, particularly along the line. They've had a great pursuit. They've been able to play the pass when it was there and also the run. They've got a great game plan devised against the Irish.
And since throwing that interception, Berline is 4 of 15 passing. Overall, he is 8 of 20 for 79 yards. He'll put it up again. He's under pressure. Throws incomplete. There was Dave Wolf on him. They wanted intentional grounding.
That could have been called. You see the stunt right over the center. They've been doing that all day. Wolf breaks free on it. Now watch, he throws the ball. Now Wolf. Notice that Wolf gave him a little extra shot at the end there, but there was a receiver in the area.
They had stopped the play. That is a 7-yard loss on the sack by Wolf.
Oh, he called it down.
He did not get the pass off.
Wolf did get a sack on it then.
And it is the work of that defensive line. So for 3rd and 17, Berline drops it to Brown, and he cannot escape 10 more. Number 42 stayed right with him, the linebacker. To win on the road in college football. Here's
going after him again, and they blocked it the last time. Now good coverage this time, good protection.
Here's Morse on the 23. And there's a penalty marker down. Morse returned it near the 40-yard line. Weisenhofer tackled him, but the penalty marker down at the 35. I don't think either of these teams can be pleased. There have been a number of mistakes on the part of both the Spartans and the Irish.
Holding. It wasn't that bad in the first half, but this second half has had a number of penalties on both sides.
So while they mark this one off and spot the ball, let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the only leading motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
It's back, and it wants to come inside. But True Value hardware stores can help seal out winter with cold weather protection. Like DAP acrylic latex caulk with silicone that forms a weatherproof paintable seal. And DAP 33 glazing sticks tight to windows. It's only $2.88 a quart. Protect outdoor wood with Wood Life Preservative from Weldwood, just $8.99 a gallon. And get Remove-A-Seal, just $2.88, for a clear seal you can peel off next spring. You'll find it at most True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Number 1 ranked Oklahoma has a devastating defense. Number 2 ranked Miami fields a defense-defying aerial attack. The 2 top teams in the nation next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Well, now it's time to present this week's Toyota Leadership Award to the players who've been singled out by their school's coaching and faculty staff for outstanding performance in the areas of team contributions, academics, and citizenship. Now, the leadership winners are Sean Heffern from Notre Dame. He's a senior econ major, a 3-point grade point average from Carmel, Indiana. And Shane Bullitt from Michigan State. He's a senior marketing major with a 3.33 grade point average from Cincinnati. And Toyota will donate a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. Michigan State with the ball on their own 30-yard line and a 10-point lead, 13-3. his way out to the 39-yard line near a first down. Gordon and Figueroa bring him down. In Ann Arbor, Bo Schembechler explodes in the second half. He was only up by 2 at the intermission. And the Ivy League action today. Harvard stalking still another championship. Second and 1 for Michigan State. And they run that little strong. White cuts back against the grain, and he is tackled down at the 41 by Spence, number 25. White has now gone over 100 yards, and that's the 15th time in his great career. He's scurried 28 times here this afternoon for 109 yards.
And this is the reason he can read daylight wherever it is. If it isn't to the right, as he starts out on a sweep to the right, breaks it all the way against the grain, and still picks up yardage.
First down for Urema, who is 4 of 13 for 49 yards and 1 interception. And more they're starting to rely on White. He gets across the 45-yard line before Figueroa tackles him. We'll see the Sooners next week against Miami. Could be the game of the year, although it's awfully early, I suppose, to declare that. Arkansas leading Tulsa in the third. Tied. That's a bit of a surprise after Clemson was upset. Boy, Iowa looks good, don't they, Coach?
I think they're going to have a good football team. They're definitely going to be a contender. Look at Northwestern going here.
It's early. Second down. 13-3. White. Across midfield. Should be about a yard short with Kowaleski bringing him down of a first down. What can the Irish do, not just defensively, we know what their problems are here, but offensively when they get the ball back?
Really having a tough time moving the football, but by the same token, they're being first down to death here. The rushing yardage, Michigan State has 148 to 51 for Notre Dame. They've got to make something happen. They're having a tough time with Berline. You might see Andrzak in here this next series. We'll watch and see.
Irish seem a little flat. There was movement in the backfield by Morse. And that's a big penalty on this particular drive, because instead of 3rd and 1, it'll be 3rd and 6 here at the 4:11 mark in the third period. Is it difficult to keep a team peaked like Lou did with the Irish last week, Aaron?
I always worried about the second game, Brent. I really did, particularly if I happened to be on the road. And as I said at the top of the show, it's very difficult to motivate. Coaches will tell you it's really tough to get a team at a peak 2 games in a row. You can pick out, and of course, obviously the opening game last week. But this Michigan State team went on the road last week and came back and have done a great job.
Now, somebody else with a problem of motivation is Tom Flores, the Los Angeles Raider coach. Silver, black, and blue at 0-2. We'll look at that story. 12:30 Eastern Time. And Ken Stabler will be our live studio guest. He has authored a book, and we'll hear his opinions. And also tomorrow, of course, Irv Cross in L.A. Aaron?
They have, on that play, the Irish have elected to take the down rather than the penalty because the ball was stopped for no play. The ball was snapped, but they're saying it was snapped after the whistle. So a punt is going to be needed here.
Well, they still have marched off the 5 yards.
No, what happened is the play was snapped. The ball was snapped before the whistle blew. The Spartans stopped. The Spartans stopped. No, this is what's happened. And now the Irish elect to refuse the penalty, and now they're forced to punt. And that's why you're getting a booing from the stands.
That's the first break the Irish have ever got at this stadium. Montgomery hangs.
That's a big one.
But it goes on into the end zone. Didn't get it out of bounds. 53-yard punt. 3:56. The Irish will have possession on their own 20-yard line when you come back to East Lansing.
There's a tendency in business to focus on the big picture. But at Cigna, we realize the big picture is actually made up of millions of smaller pictures, which is why our companies provide an array of insurance, healthcare, employee benefits, and financial services to millions of individuals and thousands of businesses. One person at a time. Cigna, Personalized service to business around the world.
Looking out for number one. Looking out for number one. Toyota, looking out for you with a powerful new Toyota 4Runner. Four-wheel drive, room for 5, and an unlimited capacity for excitement. Looking out for number one. Looking out for you has made the Toyota 4Runner number 1 in owner satisfaction. Who could ask for anything more?
Dallas has unleashed its double-back attack. Herschel and Tony D awesome together. Dallas hosts Atlanta. Doubleheader action starts tomorrow with the NFL Today on CBS Sports.
Mark Green, the tailback who replaced Alan Pinkett. We asked Green about the shoes he's filling this year.
I don't feel any pressure as far as replacing Alan Pinkett or anything. I feel that Alan's came through and showed the people what he could do and help this program a great deal. And now I feel like it's up to the younger guys to come in and to help the team and to show what they can do.
So the sophomore tailback out of Riverside, California. Played his high school football at Riverside Poly. His quarterback also out of California, out of Fullerton. Berline to throw on first down and incomplete. In and out of the hands of Williams, the tight end. Little high with the pass, Aaron.
Well, he should have caught that ball. I'll tell you, Notre Dame's had a tough time in field position. Here you are. This ball should be caught. It's right in his hands.
Yeah, it was. Sure.
It really was. But look where they've started with the ball. Notre Dame has started on their own 20, their own 20, their 13, their 13, their 20, their 24, and their 37. I remember one time I was playing in Philadelphia against Navy. They had a guy by the name of John Stufflebeam who kicked the ball just like Montgomery. He kept driving us back the same way, along with the Spartan defense.
You know, some passes have been dropped on Berline.
Yes, they have.
Over the middle. That one by Williams. Rolling to the left. Throwing back. There's a penalty marker down. He hit Green, who's out of bounds near the 40-yard line. But there is a flag on the play in the vicinity of the 35-yard line.
17-yard pickup if it holds.
Ragged play here in the second half.
I think it was defensive holding. Yep. Yep.
Let's go down with Pat O'Brien. Pat?
We're with Barbara Urema, who's Gary's mother. You enjoy watching Gary play football?
David's mother. I'm David's.
I'm sorry. Do you enjoy, how are you enjoying the game this afternoon?
Oh, I'm enjoying it. I just wish they'd get a little tougher and make a few more points. Like last week, the way David was making all the completions, I wish he could do it today.
Sorry, I called him by the wrong name there. I was talking to Dave earlier, and he said he likes to have you in the crowd.
Oh, yeah, I think he kind of looks up here every once in a while and gives us the high sign. And his dad has a little secret whistle that he gives him every now and then.
All right, let's go back up to Brent.
All right, that was a nice run by Green following a block of Tom Rader. Now watch Rader clear the way. He gets out in front of him here. And Green with the fullback crushing one, and then Rader coming over there and throwing the key block in that play, and that opened the way for Green.
You can see the difference. When you block, you get results. And that time, there was good blocking on the play.
This is less than a yard for a first down. This could be a free shot if you want to take it. If you want to throw the ball long in this situation, you should be able to come back on third and short.
Right.
He has Ward over here in the slot.
They're going to try it.
They're going to swing it out. And Green down near the 43-yard line with John Miller, 44, hanging on. Now that's a first down for the Irish. They trail it by 10 points, 3:32. If you're Lou Holtz and a member of that Notre Dame staff area, you got to be saying, we've probably been outplayed from top to bottom, but we are certainly still in it on the scoreboard. If we can get something going right now, we can come back at it.
There's 18 minutes to play out. A lot of time in this football game. There's the option.
And it's Green turning up inside. That was a nice move he made, Aaron.
They got it on Heck, I think. 88 pushing out, extending his arms.
Too good a move.
Yeah, right. I think so. That's what it looked like from this vantage. There it is. Holding. Well, watch here. as heck. Look to the right side of your screen, the lead blocker. Green will try to turn inside. Right at the end here, he pushes off. You see his hands get away from his body. Yeah, it was a pretty close call there. Nonetheless, the penalty holds. They come up with a long yardage situation. 10-yarder.
Now the ball is moved back to the other side of the 50 to the 47-yard line.
First down. You see number 88, Heck, right there. You see him hands out, pushing off. Now he stays with him. His hands are too far out. They extend beyond his elbows. They got to keep him in. Now, I can't believe that he called a clip right there because the defender turned his back on him.
First and 20 for Berline. Drops it to Green. And Green steps to the 41-yard line with Miller tackling him there. They have to get down to the 33 for a first down. That was a 12-yard gain. So they are still going to be left with considerable distance here for that first down. But it is only second down for them.
The thing that has happened on this particular drive where the Irish have been moving the football is that Berline's getting a little better protection than he did in the first half and earlier part of this quarter.
Well, it takes time to figure out those looping stunts that Perles' defensive line features, and I'm sure they went over those on the
Here comes the blitz.
He gets it off against Green, and it'll be third down and about 5.
I got to say that was great reactions by Berline because here comes the blitz. They're playing man underneath and responding to it. Watch here. Watch the rush come. There's 3 deep. Watch everyone come along the line, except you got the linebacker King there. He's picked off right here by Jackson. And, of course, good recovery by the halfback who comes up. I think that's Krumm, number 44.
With Lorenzo White and the Spartan offense. Mandarich, their tackle, watching for the sideline. It's third down. Berline and the Irish again.
Blitz again.
He gets it complete to his big tight end, and he's loose. He'll score. Williams goes for the touchdown. A 38-yard scoring strike, and Steve Berline was under all kinds of pressure on that play.
He showed a lot of poise. He stuck in there, escaped the rush. I thought for a minute he had thrown the ball away, but he hit the target, 89, Joel Williams, and he broke a tackle or avoided one and went down the sideline for the score. And you can see George Perles there, obviously concerned.
Now, Lou Holtz playing the numbers in this game. He has an opportunity to go for 2 here. The coaching staff talking about it, and Holtz wants Berline over.
He got a communication problem. Apparently, he didn't get the information and then he wanted.
He can win it with a field goal if he can get the 2 points and come back down. You're sitting right now on a 13-9 game. That's why the Irish are going for the 2, and now Berline will use a timeout. And Lou will use the occasion to bring the entire offense over to him. Aaron, at this point, I really think the defense has the advantage when you have a timeout like this.
There's no choice. I think that's the biggest benefit. I think that that's not going to be open. Those would be the 2 that I would run. What do you feel most comfortable with? Because I can rub them up on the tight end. And I can go back. I can rub them up on the tight end. What we should do is go with 2 tight. Okay. 2 tight. And that's big. If you have to remember. Single receiver goes front. If you don't, you're going, hell no. Double. Your way. 324. Here comes the front. You come under. You're good in the corner of the end zone. Back of the end zone. Okay.
But I think the one thing I picked out is that against Perles, he'd want the double tight end down there in that situation. But the point I wanted to make about Perles, when you stop play and you bring somebody like Shane Bullough over to the sideline, you've got time as a defense to think about the options. I always thought that a coach should hit right now if he's going to go for 2 points and not let the defense think about the options down here.
Right, but what he has done, he changed the formation completely. He had an open formation to check the defense. Now he's got 2 tight ends and a single flanker with Timmy Brown.
State's defense. Penalty flag is down, however, as John Buddy, number 87, came storming in.
Let's see, it was after the whistle.
Extra point is no good. Personal foul, Michigan State.
But if the ball was already down, play was over. Era, what about John Buddy?
Extra point is no good.
All right, Era, let's take a look at John Buddy. Diagram that for us.
Right here, you see him circle John Buddy. Watch him come in here, beat his blocker, and is the first one. He comes back to the outside. He comes to the outside of number 76. It was Rader. And he knocks Berline down. Let's see what the call is here. There it is right there. Unnecessary roughness. The referee is reaching for his flag.
Now, they were trying for the two-point conversion. This was the touchdown that preceded it. Watch the pressure. They are storming against Berline, who is forced to back up. And in the teeth of that rush, he hit his tight end. And there was a collision over there. And as Williams came around the corner, he swung free. And credit Milt Jackson with a block. I want you to watch and see if we can pick up number 6 and what he did in this sequence. Berline eyeing the field. Nichols 83 battling the center, trying to get penetration. They storm up the middle. Now look at Jackson. He just picks his man off right there. And Dean Altabelli could not get a shot at Williams, who went down the sideline for the touchdown.
Now the penalty, that roughing penalty, will be assessed here on this kickoff. And you wonder whether or not Lou Holtz would go for an onside kick here or just try to dump it down in there. See, the personal foul was a dead foul on the two-point attempt. It's assessed on the following kickoff here rather than the replay of the play as it used to be back in the old days.
All right, now as a result of misfiring on the 2 points, you are sitting on a 4-point lead. So now you're going to need yourself a touchdown to win this game. But by going for 2, that's the logical thing to do in that situation, because you can win it with a field goal. Now you can get a touchdown. You're still going to win it. So Holtz was playing for the victory right there.
No question about it. He was playing for that next field goal that would put him in the lead. Now he needs a touchdown instead of a field goal.
And they're drawn up on the kick.
Yeah, he just
it is short and high. You can fair catch that, and they do. He's hit. I don't think the Irish realize that you can signal for a fair catch. That'll be a penalty against Notre Dame, and that was Todd Krumm who alertly called for it.
Great play by Todd Krumm. Signal fair catch on that kind of a play. Get the penalty as a result of the Irish bumping him. Good thinking, good heady thinking on the part of the Spartans. Dead personal foul.
A penalty-marred football game. Now here is the high, short kickoff by Carney. Krumm had signaled for the fair catch. And I want to tell you, that specialty team coming down on kickoffs, they are not at all accustomed to anybody signaling for a fair catch. That really surprises you. Krumm's hand was down. I doubt that the young man who hit him had even seen the hand go up in the air. There's no way you can, coming downfield, trying to get out of your lane and get the return man on that. So it's 1st and 10. Dave Urema backing away from center. And here is the number of penalties that you have, because the officials are over conferring with Holtz, who wants an explanation on that rule. And Lou is probably complaining that, okay, you could fair catch it, but you better keep that arm up in the air long enough for my men to see it.
He gave a valid signal on it, Brent, I think. Unfortunately, I think it was Anthony Johnson, number 22, and he was kind of bumped into it. You make a good point. Anthony was warding off a block, didn't see the signal, I think, which was given earlier, came on down the field and bumped him, and realized after the fact.
1:17 to go in the third. A typical Donnybrook between Notre Dame and Michigan State. 13-9, the Spartans with the ball and the lead. Urema wants Ingram. Incomplete. That was Bob who gambled by jumping in front.
Boy, if he hadn't, it was goodbye. 7 points on the court. He really covered a lot of ground while that ball was in the air. And I'm talking about James Bob.
He's a senior out of Port Arthur, Texas, and he has replaced Steve Lawrence in that secondary for the Irish, and he's been very active. The Spartans have tested him repeatedly here this afternoon.
He's 6'1", 198, and he looked like about a 7-footer when he jumped that time. He made a great play to save a touchdown.
2nd and 10. White, big hole.
That sprint draw again that we've seen him operate and run so effectively.
Wes Pritchett, the linebacker, bringing him down.
You watch your Urema reverse pivots. Looks like it's going to the left, and he picks the blocking. The right side of the line sets like pass protection, like it's going to be a pass, and the front side of the left side, in that case, blocks straight up. And of course, White has great peripheral vision, and he hits and accelerates through the hole.
32 carries for 123 yards for our Heisman Trophy candidate. You'll see a couple of them next week on CBS. Bosworth of Oklahoma and Testaverde for Miami. This time they pitch it to him out of the eye. There is a penalty marker down. White ran for the first down. The umpire threw the marker. That usually indicates the hold down in there.
Looked like motion on the part of illegal procedure, motion on the part of the Spartans.
So it's going to go against Michigan State. And a reminder that at 3:30 Eastern time next Saturday we'll be down in the Orange Bowl. Numbers 1 and 2, according to the Associated Press poll. Oklahoma and Miami. The Sooners this afternoon took on Lou Holtz's former team, and it is 56-0 in the Hey, Era, you thought Minnesota might play decently defensively. The Sooners are loaded.
No, they did. That's a good score for Minnesota. That's one of the. You don't know how good Oklahoma is. We're going to see next week, I guess, 2 great ball clubs, 1 passing team and 1 running team.
3rd and 7 with the seconds ticking away in the 3rd quarter. The clock is running down, and that's going to do it here in the 3rd quarter. The 3rd quarter comes to an end. Urema let the time run out. Now, without using a timeout, he can talk about the 3rd down with the coaching staff. We'll come back with that play here on CBS in a moment.
I want my Serta. I want my Serta.
Here's why people want their Serta. Why they're spoiled for any other mattress. Only Serta goes beyond just being firm. Beyond what others do. We top our support with the extra comfortable Serta surface. A unique difference you can feel in a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
Marvin, I want my Serta.
The clear, natural beauty of glass protects the taste of your wine, no matter how long you store it. So you know that the good wines that come in recyclable glass bottles come brought to you by the people who make glass containers naturally.
This is CBS.
As soon as I released the ball, I felt it ripping my shoulder. It sounded like Velcro separating.
Thanks to a revolutionary technique pioneered at Ingram Medical Center, doctors can repair an injured shoulder or knee without cutting the joint open. It's called arthroscopic surgery, and it significantly reduces pain and recovery time. Joint injuries can happen to anyone. You don't have to be a professional athlete, but you do have to seek medical attention. And the sooner you do, the better.
At the turn of the century, your grandparents may have received a delivery of fine Estes furniture from the back of a horse-drawn wagon. Some traditions shouldn't change. Service is still just that personal. Custom orders are routine, but the selection is much larger, financing is the best available, and home design consulting is offered without charge. But Estes doesn't take its reputation for granted. After all, you don't earn respect just by getting older. East Grand River and South Washington.
Watch News Center 6, weeknights at 6 and 11.
CBS Sports presents college football, sponsored by Cigna, whose companies provide an array of insurance, health care, employee benefits, and financial services around the world. Your Toyota dealer and the new 4x4 gas turbo truck. Who could ask for anything more? And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this.
Pat O'Brien back at Spartan Stadium just a moment ago. A plane flew over that said, Patty Morris, marry me, Dan O. And it flew over about 25 times. Patty Morris is Bobby Morris's sister. What did you do when you saw it?
I was just really surprised and happy.
Yes or no?
Yes, definitely yes.
You're a pretty confident guy, Dan O, here now. What if she would have said no?
Well, I took the gamble, and I just figured, you know, with the tradition that we have with Michigan State, Notre Dame, and the family, it had to be right.
All right, marriage CBS style. Let's go back to Brent.
Big third down here for brother Bobby Morris, who's one of the blockers for Urema. And he hits Ingram at the sideline, and they will mark it complete and out of bounds at the 43-yard line, a gain of 20. A critical first down play as Urema hits Ingram. Well, Bobby Morris, whose sister just said, hey, you talk about pressure. Is there any way that she was going to say no on network?
Well, she could have said maybe.
Well, anyway, his daddy and her daddy, Jim Morris, was the great captain at Notre Dame. He gets a lot of credit for blocking for Paul Hornung. He was a pretty good runner in his own right. And now his son is trying to open holes for Lorenzo White, the Heisman Trophy candidate, who got down to the 40-yard line, a gain of a couple yards. And there's Bobby, whose sister just said yes. So Jim Morris, the halfback of the Fighting Irish in 54 through 56. And Jim, I got news for you. Get some cash up. You got a wedding coming. He doesn't need to worry about cash. He's been a very successful businessman here in the state of Michigan.
Hey, I know all about that. I have two daughters. They're both married.
Second down and 8. Urema going long toward Ingram. Ingram's got it. Touchdown, Spartans. To attempt the extra point. Perfect. So Dave Urema, who was 1 of 5 for 16 yards, hits Ingram. And the 40-yard touchdown opens up a little daylight between the Spartans and the Irish. Last week, Ingram caught only one pass, but he got a step on that secondary era, and it was a beautifully thrown ball.
It was perfectly thrown by Urema. And in 1984, that same fella right there, Mark Ingram, caught a 50-yard pass against the Irish. Boy, that ball was beautifully thrown. Just beautifully thrown.
And the young man who threw it, taking a look down there, and he says, we've got 6. We'll be right back in East Lansing. The Spartans in command.
And Old Milwaukee both.
Here's the man, James Bob, that Mark Ingram comes right down and comes up and looks over his shoulder, beats. Watch this. You see him in motion. You see Bob moving over. But now Ingram's got great speed. And before Bob can pick it up, he's right behind him, and the ball is perfectly thrown. Look at that. Beautiful play.
The advantage of speed on artificial turf. The defense a step slow in applying pressure, and Ingram a step quicker in getting free of that safety man. Ingram has run the 40 in 4.5. He's a superb all-around athlete like so many of these Spartans. And he looked like a track man there, didn't he? It's 20-9. We've got 14 minutes and 10 seconds to play. And the Irish in need of some big plays. Brown. There's an out. And he's pushed out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Greg Montgomery, who kicked it off, took him out. How about an update, Jim Nance, on Oklahoma?
All right, Brent, it's a final now from Norman, 63-0, as they had to change horses on the Sooner schooner. Minnesota was held to 150 yards total offense, and after 8 quarters of play this year, the Oklahoma defense has not allowed a touchdown. Let's go back out to East Lansing.
Not allowed a touchdown. They'll be under fire next week. I'd be surprised if they get out of the Orange Bowl without giving the Hurricanes at least a score and maybe 2. What a game that shapes up there. Berline throws incomplete out of bounds. Green was slipping out of the backfield. You know, Aaron, talking about the Heisman Trophy, and White here, certainly a candidate. Testaverde down in Miami. You got to believe this might be a year that a defensive player slips in there. Bosworth is getting an awful lot of attention, and that's what you need. And if he has a good game with us next Saturday, he's got the kind of hairdo that they like to take pictures of on the sideline.
He's certainly a candidate, I'll guarantee you. One of the top 3.
Now they run the draw, run the fullback up to the 35-yard line, and that'll still leave them about 3rd and 6 for the first down. Larson. Well, Irish, 14-yard gain, 13-15 left.
John Miller had him man-to-man coming across, but Berline escaped the rush once again. He did do a good job. Stepped up into the pocket, and as Jackson crossed the middle here, you'll see John Miller, number 44, trailing him, reaches out with his arm, but it's too late. Completion, first down.
Berline's numbers, 15 of 29 for 176 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Over the middle, and that is complete. He hits Alvin Miller.
Another great throw under pressure, Brent. It really was.
26-yard gain. He has come back here in the second half.
Watch here the pressure that Berline is getting, and he drops that ball right into Alvin Miller, right there. He got it away just before he was sacked, and that's Larson, number 3, making the play.
Well, this constant pressure that the Michigan State defensive line has had Berline under. He stepped over to the left a little bit, but that's what a good quarterback has to do, is say, I'm going to take the lick, but I'll deliver it anyway. And they run the fullback, Taylor, inside the 20-yard line on first down.
Just a straight handoff. They hit the bubble right over the middle because the tackles were looping to the outside, and it was a great call.
When the Spartans went up 20-9, they seem to have relaxed just a bit, and the Irish have hit them with a very impressive drive here.
Good blocking in there by Ron Freeman and Chuck Lanza, the center and left guard of the Irish. Sean Heffern did a good job, too, the right guard.
Second and very short. Berline running the option down the line is stuffed.
And ran the down-the-line option on second and short. Probably should have gone ahead with a waist down situation. He's just running, fakes the dive right here again, comes on down the line, tries to turn it up, but there's no blocking on that side, and he just knocked down and makes a 3rd down at about 1.
That was Joe Bergen, 45, who did a fine job that time for the Spartans. Wishbone. Brown going to the angle. He won't get it. The Spartans stiffen, and John Miller, number 44, comes up from that corner with terrific run support.
They tried to duck it outside, but Miller wasn't going to let it happen the second time. It happened earlier in the game, but not this time. It's just a pitch sweep to Timmy Brown. Great job by Miller. Look at him ward off the lead block. Come in and make the play on Timmy Brown.
How much easier is it for a defensive coordinator when you know that the quarterback is not that quick on his feet?
Well, I think it helps you a lot. I was always fearful of a scrambling quarterback. I think there's a timeout here, Brent.
Yeah, they'll... Now, we show the Irish, as a result of this, with 1 timeout to go at 10 minutes. And that is very important when you're digging uphill. When you're down 20-9, you need timeouts. We'll be right back. It's a big play call for Holtz.
It really is a big play, and also for the defense.
What do you think they come up with?
You know, your guess is as good as mine. Let's see the formation first.
Well, I was surprised by that wishbone play on the last one, and that corner Once he sees Brown swinging around, he can come up hard on run support and make the kind of tackle that he did. Because the Irish haven't shown us a fullback off of that wishbone up the middle yet, and they haven't shown Berline keeping it.
Okay, they're coming with a split end.
Yeah, they've come out
Two tight ends in the eye.
I think they're more dangerous this way.
Probably wedge it in here. They're right up on the goal line.
Green right over the top.
He got it.
He went right for it. He looked like Walter Payton.
Good offensive surge by the line. To see it right from ground level here, you'll see him just take that ball. Green, Mark Green, dive over the pile and make the first down. Big play for the Irish. Good blocking along the front. Went right over half run the right guard, the seasoned returnee from the line.
Anthony Johnson checks in at the tail. Green with an equipment adjustment on the side. They run Johnson, but there is a penalty flag thrown. Penalty marker is at the 10-yard line as Johnson came through a hole. In case you were not with us earlier, Johnson is a young runner whom Coach Parsegan is very fond of. He thinks that Johnson has a fine future with the Fighting Irish. And illegal motion against Notre Dame and another penalty which hurts them.
A week ago, Brent, Notre Dame had 4 penalties for 23 yards. This game thus far, they've had 7 for 68 yards. You can't have penalties. They really hurt. Also responding, I really think that Anthony Johnson, Brent, is going to be a great back for Notre Dame. He's strong, picks up good yardage, good feet.
Well, if Notre Dame can strike on this possession, easier said than done against this defense. But if they can, and they can hit for 2, they move back to within a field goal here.
And there's 10 minutes and 18 seconds left.
Now they run Taylor straight ahead.
I don't know whether we would go for a field goal if they did that, but that was 15 yards. That was 1st and 15, and they run the ball into the line. I think you've got to go for the play. You've got to try to get the score with run action passes.
Well, Lou has to be thinking right now of what to do on 4th down. You've got to have the 2 scores. 2nd and 12. Ball is at the 16.
Corner blitz. No.
For Brown at the 4. And the Spartans indicate that they have taken it away. Great play by that defense. And that was John Miller, number 44, who moments ago came up on run support. This time he drops back and gets the ball away from Tim Brown. What a defensive game he has played. The ball simply came loose.
Well, the ball, if he does not bobble this ball on the reception, he probably would have had better possession of the ball. Now watch him. He juggles the ball. Joel Williams. Oh, here he is on the inside. No, that was Timmy Brown right there. Did not have a shot of it, but what happens is that the ball is bobbled and John Miller picks it off in the air.
As he does, I want you to watch Dean Altabelli. See if number 13 doesn't come in here hard on some support. You see that? That whacked the ball out of his arms right into Miller, who was coming over. And the reaction from the bench as Altabelli, a Rhodes Scholar candidate, delivers the hit of the game. So it is a complete pass. Altabelli forcing the fumble, and the fumble recovery by Miller. And George Perles and the Spartans are in command. Remember that Michigan State has not beaten Notre Dame in this stadium since 1968.
And Brennan, you're right. Altabelli did the job there. He put his helmet right on the ball and shook it loose from Timmy Brown.
Here comes White. Swinging outside to the left. All right, let's take another look at that interception.
You'll see that Timmy Brown will juggle the ball in his right hand. He does get possession, right? Here, there's the ball juggle. Watch Altabelli come in from the left, right there, and put his helmet right on that ball. And you see Miller come in and pick it off. Great defensive play by the secondary of the Spartans.
And Lou Holtz can only hope that the defense can get that ball back. We're moving inside of 9 minutes. The Irish are behind the Spartans 20-9. To the short side again with White. slips on his cutback at the 10. Spence was the defensive back here. Come up to take him down. It'll be 3rd down and about a long 3. The 8:30 mark.
Looking ahead here on this 3rd down play, if the Irish are able to hold, you know, I'm thinking as a coach on the sideline, you're going to look at Montgomery coming in here, who averages 45 yards a kick and can really boom it.
Arrow, would you automatically go for a punt block then?
Well, I think I would with the time frame. I think I would go after it. He's got the 1st down and some more. No, they got him.
They trip him up at the 11-yard line. That was Jeff Coons who was able to trip him up that time.
Some help from Kovaleski, captain of the Irish. I thought he was going to slip through that seam right here. Looks like it's well blocked. Look at the hole open up between the tackle and the guard to the outside backer here. Great recovery here by Troy Wilson, the strong safety. And Kovaleski comes in here to give some help.
I was wrong. That was Brandy Wells who tripped him up. And
the strong safety number 5, right.
Strong safety actually tripped him up, and then Kovaleski wrapped him up. Let's see what happens on the punt.
Look at this. Well, he didn't get a good one.
No, he sure didn't, but he may get a... And he doesn't get a bounce either. Irish are going to take over at the Spartan 44-yard line. 7:24 to go. 32-yard punt. We'll be right back. Is John Miller, number... Back in East Lansing, 7:24. The Spartans with the lead and the Irish with the ball era.
Well, they've got to get on the board here if they're going to get back into the game, and I think maybe screens, draws, and passes should be incorporated on this drive. And we may see some of them.
Perline brings Notre Dame to the line of scrimmage. Off a play fake, and then he pumps, comes back toward Brown. Krumm is there, and there's a penalty flag down near the 10-yard line.
Now, as you know, the new rule, Brent, 15 yards and a 1st down. Let's see if we can see where the call is. What the call is. 35 right there is Todd Krumm. Makes contact with him just before the ball gets there, and I guess that's what he's calling. Pretty close.
So it'll be 15 yards and a 1st down for Notre Dame. Now we've got time here while they reset the ball. Let's go to New York and Jim Nance. Jim?
All right, Brent, some of the upsets today. Southern Mississippi over Mississippi State as the Golden Eagles had 2 running backs go over 100 yards. Not a good day for the Pentagon teams. Navy knocked off by Indiana. Let's go back to Brent Nera.
All right, thank you, Jim. Berline brings the Irish to the line of scrimmage. Ball's at the 28. Green cuts up inside. Battled his way near the 23-yard line. Clock moving down towards 7 minutes. Bobbitt was the defender on that play.
Mark Green put a pretty good move on Todd Krumm. He got by him, but Bobbitt came right up there and did the job of supporting. Green's got some pretty good moves.
Shane Bulla tells Krumm and the rest of the defenders what the call is from the sideline. And again, George Perles' defense with a superb job here this afternoon. Sideline pass incomplete. Wanted Green, and Davis came through and applied defensive pressure. Those linemen all day long have been able to come free. What about Perles' defensive scheme? What does he feature with this group?
I think he does an outstanding job. He takes the tackles, the 2 tackles and guards, and does a lot of stunning with them. Creates a lot of problems, and we've seen that they've come free and put a lot of pressure on Berline. It generally isn't that they have 3 or 4 guys in there. It's generally 1 guy that disrupts the timing and the tilt and the stunts by the 2 tackles.
Berline back on 3rd, over the middle to Brown for the 1st down. Turns it up and gets to the 5-yard line.
He's dangerous.
18-yard gain. Berline to Brown.
Now you see Brown, the second one from the bottom here, making a little move. Now he cuts across. Bobbitt's on him man for man, gets picked off or screened off. Here he comes wide open. And the blocking downfield by Mark Green, staying with his man. He finally comes off of him to make the play at the 5.
And he may have cramped up. a little bit, too. I'm referring to Brown. Here's first and goal. Now it is up over the top, and the Irish get a touchdown. Anthony Johnson came in and took it in, and there's your man.
Yep, I knew that he was going to do a good job. But you see the power thrust that he has. He waited until he saw the daylight. He was patient with it. He's just a freshman. And he took the ball in there for the score. Now they're going to go for two again. Plenty of time, Brent. 6 minutes and 7 seconds.
And if they get the two, that would move them back to within a field goal of the lead. So they could try a long field goal, and of course a touchdown would put them ahead. On the other hand, Michigan State has been able to retaliate with some big plays. And that drive was impressive. 4 plays, 43 yards. Took a minute 17 to get it done. And Tim Brown is back on the field for this play. Overthrew. Brown, who was coming across. And for Lou Holtz to win it, he must stop Michigan State and get the touchdown. Here's the touchdown again.
Watch the patience of Anthony Johnson, a freshman. He waits, lets the blocking develop. Now he sees the seam. Now he's going for that goal line. 220 pounds, and he touches that line, and that's a score.
Watch Tom Freeman lead the way here. He throws the block down low. Taylor, the fullback, coming around, and then Johnson does what a lot of those good ones do down by the goal line. Get up over the top. Make sure you get the 6. We'll be right back.
Here's the man that was key. Tom Freeman, the left guard. Watch as he pulls and picks up Shane Bulla, number 41, who is the linebacker. Throws the key block. Shane Bulla almost comes off the block to trip up Tony Johnson. Right here, there's the block thrown by Freeman. Knocks Bulla down. Bulla comes off the block. Almost stops him, but Johnson's in the end zone.
Well, the two-point play was a pass by Berline. Here's Brown in the slot, 81. He'll come across the goal line. Berline drops back and overthrew him at the goal line. And to re-emphasize our situation with the scoreboard, the Irish have tried and failed on 2 two-point conversions. So they trail by 5, and they need a touchdown in the last 6 minutes. Most importantly, they must stop Dave Urema and Lorenzo White and the rest of the Spartans. So just like last week, the Irish come right down to the end with a chance to pull one out. Carney's kick is dead for the touchback. It'll come out at the 20. Tomorrow we'll have a lot more football action for you. After the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time, Atlanta, Dallas, the Rams in Indianapolis, Tampa Bay against Detroit, and St. Louis against Buffalo. Chuck Long. A lot of folks in the Detroit area want him to see a little action. They're at quarterback. Second game, Giants-Raiders. Washington goes out west to play San Diego. And New Orleans against the 49ers, who must go without Joe Montana. Harold, what about the strategy as far as the Spartans are concerned right here?
One-on-one on Ingram is the play that has bailed them out. Here it is again. There it is.
Throw on first down.
There you go.
And they've got him. And
call it in and
it
out.
is incomplete. He was out of bounds.
That's the play that has bailed them out in this ball game. That time, it was just the timing was off a little bit. The ball was thrown a little too far to the sideline, and it was incomplete. Let's take a look at it here. You see that one-on-one again. He has him open. Right there, he goes up. Let's see his feet. Does he come down? Oh, he's way up, way up.
And Urema 6 of 17 for 109 yards. 1 touchdown and an interception. The Irish defense gets the Spartans in a 2nd and 10.
And they see that same thing again. Well, it's a draw with White.
Run him out to the 25. Leave a 3rd and 5. Brandy Wells, the strong safety, along with Kovaleski, bringing him down.
Big down right here. 5:40 left to go. Going in with tight end Number 49 is Sargent. They'll go to the two tight end situation. I would guess that single coverage again on either Ingram or Eisen. There's the rollout.
And they drop it underneath to Morse. Bobby Morse took the pass underneath and got a first down for Michigan State.
Great throw by Urema also. He's looking downfield for the one-on-one. Bobby Morse slips underneath the rusher right there, and Urema drops it off. Big play for the Spartans. First down.
Good block by Mike Sargent, 49, the tight end who came back to help Morse out. That was a play they used frequently against Arizona State last weekend. They have not shown it much here today against the Irish. Moving inside of 5 minutes on this play. Notre Dame needs the ball back. They trail it by 5. Here's White. Defense strings him out. Figueroa, the linebacker, leading that assault.
Figueroa did a marvelous job as an outside backer. He couldn't play it any better. Fought the blocker off, kept him in front of him, made White change his direction twice, did an outstanding job.
Now, Era, they have been able to get Ingram loose in those one-on-one situations. What can the defensive coaches upstairs do
Well, they got to
on
take
the 2nd and 11?
They got to take some risks on this play, man-to-man. They can't give him. They've been giving him big cushions, big cushions. Now they're doubling up on the wide side.
And they're pressing up.
They're overloaded on this side.
They ran White to the short side, and that leaves them with 3rd and long as Pritchett, 34, comes up on White.
Great job there by Pritchett.
Now here is a look at that Irish defense led by Pritchett coming up on White here, who had come to the short side looking for an alley. And Pritchett with a splendid tackle on him, leaving a 3rd and 8 at the 3:43 mark.
The Spartans had loaded up the right side with 4 men to the right of center. They had been successful with it earlier in the game, but not that time. Doubling up on the receivers.
Oh, that sprint draw, and White is short of the first down. Notre Dame to get the ball back, and again it was Pritchard coming down toward 3 minutes.
A factor that could be very important. I believe the Irish only have 1 timeout left. Here it is from the end zone, the little sprint draw. Looks like it's going over to one way, and look at White, cut it back. He's forced back to the inside. Pritchett, number 34, comes back in there, is not fooled by it, makes a play. He's really an aggressive kid.
Errol Wilson going back deep to return.
Looks like they may be going after it. They're going to try to block it.
They force him to get a little bit lower than normal. Wilson bobbles. Down at the 33. At the 2:37 mark. All right, Era, there's plenty of time left now for the Irish to come back down the field. What do they do offensively, and what must Perles and the Spartan defense do to keep in check?
Well, the Spartans defense has got to be a little shaky right now because the Irish did take the ball down on a succession of passes. I would think with this kind of time frame left, what I said on the last drive, screens, draws, and passes would be the thing because you're going to get a pass rush. And I think that Berline has been on target, particularly these last 2 drives.
One thing working against Notre Dame, they have only 1 timeout remaining in this game. Berline on first down. Down the middle toward Brown, incomplete, and there were a lot of green jerseys down there.
What they tried to do that time is to hit Brown. Right here, number 81, down the slot. They fake away from it. Brown is trying to cut over the middle. Larson, number 3, the outside backer, is trying to stay with him right there. Number 41 is Shane Bulla. Does get back in good position, and it's an incompletion.
Era Berline didn't seem happy at the conclusion of that play. Is it possible there was an incorrect pattern run there?
I don't think it was on the part of Brown, because I know what they were trying to do on that particular play.
Well, they slot Brown to the left on 2nd and 10. Under pressure, ball is loose. Notre Dame recovers. Sproul jumped on the loose ball. saves it for the Irish. But again, it was that defensive pressure coming in on Perles. He had bought some time, was looking over to the left, and John Buddy, number 87, allowed Mark Nichols to come in from behind and jar the ball loose. Then Spruill, the guard, falls on it, but here's 3rd and 15. Irish eyes are smiling. First down for Notre Dame at the 46 as Perles hits Brown for 26 yards.
What a great throw that was by Perles under enormous pressure. Here's Timmy Brown on the outside, starts up the field, breaks over the middle, inside of Altobelli, number 13. Perles puts it right on the mark. Big play.
Going without a huddle at the 135 mark. Caught as he was going out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Joe Williams, the tight end, a 14-yard gain, and there is a flag thrown back in the direction of Perles, who is limping. That's a roughing the passer call against the Spartans. And Lou was asking him if he's okay.
There's a ground level shot. There's Joel Williams reaching out. The ball's right there.
And the foot is down. No, I've got to ask you about Perles. In a situation like this, a lot of athletes are going to tell their coaches, I'm okay, I want to stay in. Now, he appears to be limping noticeably from up here. This is a tough spot for Lou Holtz.
It really is, because he's hot right now. You want to keep him in there if you can. And the point that you made earlier also, Brent, the one timeout is very critical. You got a minute and a half left to go. If they had 3 timeouts, this could be entirely different. But they just have one.
That's Travis Davis, defensive lineman, receiving some instructions. As a result of that penalty, the ball is spotted at the 31-yard line of the Spartans. That's a first down. The clock shows 1:31 to go. 6 o'clock Eastern time. And Notre Dame, just as they did a week ago, trying to come back down and pull one out. Perles intercepted by Krumm. Take a look. Todd Krumm with his 2nd interception today.
What marvelous ball reaction. Perles looking to his right, then turns, throws. Watch Krumm react to the ball. Steps inside of Milt Jackson. And that's his 2nd. The first one went for a touchdown as he intercepted it.
And he did it both times, with Perles attempting to look him off to the right and come back with the throw to the left. And on neither occasion was Krumm faked out. 1:26, Spartans up by 5, trying to beat Notre Dame for the first time here in East Lansing since 1968. Another look at Todd Krumm, number 35. Milt Jackson was open momentarily, but Krumm read the play perfectly and stepped up in front of him. In the opening quarter, it was Krumm who intercepted a pass and dashed on into the end zone for our first touchdown of the game, a 44-yard return. Second and 9. Morse pounds away. Well, we've got a timeout, their last one called by Notre Dame. 39 seconds, and we'll be right back for the conclusion. Well, the sideline that couldn't be any unhappier. You play your hearts out 2 weeks in a row, and you're 0-2. Tough way to go, isn't it? Let me tell you, Notre Dame's schedule is not easy the rest of the way either. They dearly wanted to break through and win one of these two. 39 seconds. Urema brings it back. The Irish are out of timeouts. He downs the ball at the 13-yard line. And the Spartans, on the other hand, win a big one in era. What are your thoughts in general now about these two teams?
Well, Brent, I think you said it well. That before the ball game, that there was going to be an 0-2 team leave from this game, and maybe a doggone good one. I think Notre Dame is a good football team. I think the game plan that George Perles right there put together along with his staff and the energy that they played with was deserving of the victory. They did an outstanding job.
There's the president of the university hugging his football coach. Let's go down to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
George, congratulations. Congratulations. First of all, I guess we can't talk enough about Todd Krumm and your defense.
Todd Krumm gave us, the two big interceptions. Without him, we probably wouldn't won the game, and that's as simple as that. Like Chuck Noll would say, it's as simple as that.
What did it mean to beat Notre Dame today?
Oh, it means a lot. I'm happy to win. I can't get too upset. I'm just glad to win. I know we're fortunate, and I take it in that vein.
Well done. Congratulations, Coach. Let's go back upstairs to Brent.
A class man who has done a fine job the right way here at Michigan State, and his field leader, Dave Urema. So for the first time since 1968, the Spartans beat the Irish in East Lansing. We'll be right back after these messages from your local stations. Our Chevrolet most valuable players of this game for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, a young man who was all over the field today, Troy Wilson, the cornerback. And for the Spartans of Michigan State, he intercepted 2 passes today, 1 for a touchdown, 1 the game saver. Todd Krumm, and a check in the amount of $1,000 is donated by Chevrolet to each school's general scholarship fund. So tomorrow on CBS, the NFL, 12:30 Eastern Time. It's the NFL today. Then most of you will see Atlanta, Dallas. But it's doubleheader day, and later in the afternoon, the Giants go out west. Are they for real? Can the Raiders come back? They're 0-2. That's our big doubleheader game. Once again from East Lansing, Michigan, the final score, the Fighting Irish bow to the Spartans of Michigan State, 20-15. Notre Dame at Michigan State has been a presentation of CBS Sports. And it was a defensive back, Todd Krumm, who missed most of the spring because of a broken hand, who came through today. Last year, he intercepted 4 passes. Today, he intercepted 2, but they were the 2 biggest of his career. I'm Brent Musburger with Errol Barsig, and so long, everybody.